Player 2 has joined the game.
Hey yo, what's up everybody, and welcome to episode 102 of the Two Player Co-op Podcast. As always, I'm one of your hosts here, Kevin, along with my brother from my mother, Sean.
How we doing?
Very good. Pretty good, I would say. One of my favorite episodes of the year. This is what you've all been waiting for, our top 10 games of 2017. Quite a year it's been.
It has been a year.
It has been a year. But before we get to that, a few things to talk about. First, if you didn't know, if this is the first time you're ever seeing us, this is the Two Player Co-op Podcast. Every week, two brothers get together, shoot stuff. We talk about video games, news you need to know about, and we end every podcast playing what everybody loves. It's known as the Back of the Box Challenge. That's a rundown. If this is the first time you're seeing us, we hope you like what you see. If you do, hit the like button, hit the share button, or nope, the subscribe button. Share it with your friends as well.
There's no button, but there might be a button.
There's like a thing.
A thing. Yeah.
But yeah, do all that. We thank you guys so much for being here. Some housekeeping. If you didn't see the video last week, we did put up a video, a little minute-long video, just saying that basically we're doing a survey. I kind of talked about it on the last podcast. I didn't know if we were going to do a survey, but I did make a survey. Survey Monkey surveys out there. Basically, we talked about on episode 100 that we were thinking about where do we go in 2018. What do we change? What do we keep? How do we evolve? Not just as a podcast, but as a YouTube channel. And really, all this comes down to is we want your feedback. Been getting quite a few responses so far. That's good. Thank you. We're learning stuff. We'll probably have an episode here in a couple weeks where after we kind of have our brainstorming session where we go through what we're going to do next year. And we'll run through some of those comments, not contents. I just saw that Mario's holding the pen now. And, yeah, so thank you for your feedback. Hearing some stuff we didn't know. It's good. Keep it coming. Some good ideas. We really appreciate it. If you haven't taken the survey yet, I can't annotate to it now that I know YouTube only lets you annotate to other YouTube channels, a subscribe button, or to a merchandise store. We don't have one yet. I think maybe if you get to 1,000 followers, 1,000 subscribers, then you can do more stuff. But either way, I'll have the link down in the description for the survey. Take that. It literally will take you 2 minutes or less to fill out. It's really quick, but again, it means a lot to us. Make sure you go check that out. Thank you so much. Also, we saw Last Jedi. We gave all our thoughts in our review episode that went up early Saturday. The first, I think it was like 7 or 8 minutes, are completely spoiler-free. After that, we do get into spoilers. We give you plenty of warning. By now, you should have seen it anyways. But overall thoughts, we both really liked it. We don't understand the hate for this movie.
No, I don't get it.
I don't get it. I want to see it again. There's a lot that I want to see again because I don't think I got the full picture. But we both really liked it.
That is correct.
That is correct. What else is up, Sean?
What else is up? It's almost Christmas. Mm-hmm. You had a week to go, less than a week by the time you're watching this.
That is insane. I mean, I know it
doesn't
it's like
feel
that every
like
year,
Christmas.
But man,
I feel like the last few months between like Oktoberfest in September and then the wedding in October and then the honeymoon in November, like the last few months have been a blur. Yeah. I just, since I kind of missed out on Thanksgiving, it's weird that it's crisp. It's just everything's just all screwed up in my head.
Your internal clock is all jacked up.
It's very weird. And then I'm going to be real depressed, as I always am. The day after Christmas is just the most depressing day of the year.
But you're taking that week off, right?
Oh, yeah. The whole week off.
Yeah, that's good. Yep.
But, yeah.
Me too.
Crazy. Time flies.
It does. Oh, yeah. I don't know what happens. I forgot that the pay-per-view is tonight.
I don't care.
They're not going to have AJ lose the title, right? They can't. Now it's getting WrestleMania season. They can't put it back on Jinder. Jinder can't even win in India. Triple H beat him. There's no way he's getting the title back.
He's not winning.
So we'll see what happens with that. Hopefully Royal Rumble's good. I don't know the rumors about a women's Royal Rumble. I'm like, these pay-per-views are already like so like just. Not that it would be filler content, but it's going to be another 4-hour pay-per-view. I don't need 2-hour-long matches in that thing.
I think if they did a women's, it would be like probably 20.
15 to
and
20.
maybe like a minute in between, not 90 seconds or whatever. Like
They should almost just do a battle royal.
I was going to say you could
put them
also
all
just
in
make
there.
it a battle royal, but I don't know.
don't
I'm
know
looking
either.
forward to Rumble though.
Yep. What have you been playing this week, Sean? Anything?
I have been playing a lot of Zelda.
Nice. Did you beat it all yet?
I did.
You did.
It is more in depth. It is a true DLC.
Have you found? I didn't even know these were in there. And I'm assuming you must have found them. Have you found this stuff that is story related?
Like the where you go to the 4.
No, but there's stuff like. I'll just say it. Have you found the memories?
New memories?
There's new memories.
Well, there's memories that play.
Oh, okay. They play.
You haven't beaten even the.
I haven't gone back to it.
Okay.
No. I
Yeah,
was
there's
too
a
busy this
memory
week.
at the end of each of those. You get like a
Okay.
little memory thing. So,
Okay, that
yeah.
makes sense.
That's what I'm saying. So there's 4 of those, and then there's like I don't know if you want me to tell you, but there's one other part after that. Like I thought when I did those 4, I was more or less done, and you're not. But so long story short, I got the motorcycle.
Is it stupid? You feed it like fruit or something? I think
I don't know. It said, "Oh, you got to put stuff in the tank." I haven't used it that much, but my gas meter, if you want to call it that, has only gone down by like a quarter.
Oh,
So it's not like it goes down very fast. It's more or less a trophy. I don't use it. I mean, if I'm here and I see like a shrine way over there, I might call the bike and ride. If it's
do you just whistle for it like a horse?
no, it's a what do you call it?
Oh, it's a rune.
It's a rune, yeah.
Okay.
And then you just say summon, boo, and then it shows up. It is hard to control.
Just like riding a horse in every Zelda game is hard to control.
Yeah, there's no need to ever really use it, but it's cool to have. It was more just getting it was fun. Like all the stuff. I don't even care that there's a bike waiting for me at the end. I wasn't doing it for the bike. It was just fun to do.
Do it for the memes.
So I went back and tried the middle trials
Okay.
from the first DLC. I don't know that I'll ever beat this.
Yeah.
It is freaking impossible.
I feel like the only chance I would have had is if when I was playing my 65 hours, if the DLC came out and I went right for it.
Well, I went
I'm
back
still
because
rusty.
now I've been rusty because I've been playing a lot. I'm like, okay, I'm getting back into this. I bet I can go beat it now. It's still very difficult.
Yeah.
I got to, I think, level 8, I think. And I died.
And there's no saving or checkpoints,
No.
right? Yeah.
And I looked it up online. There's, I think, 16. So I was only halfway. And I'm sure it doesn't get any easier after 8. So I just don't know that I'm ever going to beat it. I have gotten quite a few more shrines. So you get a bunch of shrines during the DLC. I think I've found
More than just the 4 in the first part.
Well, no, I guess. Oh yeah, I guess it is just the 4 because the other shrines you don't get a. Or it's
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess you only get 4 for that. But I think I found another 4 or 5 outside of that.
How many are you up to?
Just exploring where I haven't been and all that.
You got to be over 100.
I broke the 100 mark. Now.
Okay.
I'm at I think 102.
I'm right at 80, I think.
Yeah. So I'm at 102. There's definitely, I mean, so far I'm like 3 of 4 of like 4 places that I'm like, hey, I haven't been in this area. I haven't been in that area. I haven't been in that area. I think probably like 3 of the 4 that I've been to, I found a shrine at.
Really?
But I'm still missing like, I don't know, probably what, 25? There's 120. Did the
So
first
now
DLC
124,
add
I
any?
guess.
So there's
No,
only
it didn't add
124.
any, yeah.
So I'm missing 22. I have quite a few like side quests or whatever that are still
Shrine
active. The shrine quests that, you know, if I ever can solve them, that'll lead me to a few more. But I think I might maybe be
You're
able
so
to find
close.
them all.
You're so
I
close.
want to
now.
do it without cheating, but if there's any like up in the stupid mountains in the upper
Yeah.
I mean, there are. I found a few, but if I'm still missing some, those are going to be a pain. Or if there's any down in the desert, like I don't know. I'd like to be able to do it without cheating, but I may just have to look them up eventually. But
Yeah.
no, I've been playing a lot of Zelda. That's pretty much it. I don't think I've really been playing anything else.
Yeah.
What about you?
I didn't play Zelda at all. It's just been busy. But then they had a nice little sale on the PSN this past week. One game I've been wanting to pick up for a while, ever since I played the other one in this series, I was able to pick up, and that's Lara Croft Go.
Okay.
On the Vita. Playing through it, I really like it. I like Hitman better, because this one is all just... It's still the same, like you move, you're on a grid. It's like a board game. You can only go where you can go. But with Hitman, each level had like 2 or 3 challenges where it was do it without killing anybody, or kill everybody, or do it in only 12 moves. And you're like, how could I ever get to the end in 12 moves? So that made you keep replaying like, oh, dang it, I almost got it. Okay, now let me try this. Whereas this, I'm in the third or the fourth world now, I would call it. And this does not have that. What it has is it's just there's collectibles in each one. There's these vases or vases that you see on the screen. All you do is tap them and they break, and you get some kind of, either you get a gem. Each world has you got to find 42 gems, and you've also got this statue that you're trying to put together, 12 pieces of this statue, and you got to find each piece to form it together. So it's really just collectibles. Okay. So I don't like that. I'd rather have the challenges from Hitman, but $2.50. I don't know why I just said it like that.
$2 and a half a buck
for $2.50. It's money well spent. I'm really liking it for $2.50. And at the end, once I get all the collectibles and everything, and there's a couple other stupid trophies, I'll have a platinum for it. So that'll be my 15th platinum.
Wow.
And I've still got Batman out there pending. I didn't go back and play that again. I think I'm going to wait till episode 4 comes out, and then I'll go 2, 3, 4, and then just wait for 5. And that's really all I've been playing is Lara Croft Go. But also on that sale, I finally did it. I went back and bought it again. Metal Gear Solid 3 Vita. I had to. It was on sale for $5. Normally it's only 15, but it was $5. I'm like, I've heard actually
Is it just Metal Gear Solid 3, or is it Subsistence?
It's the HD. It's the HD re-release for PS3 on Vita. So it's the Subsistence version. So you've got the camera that moves.
Okay. And
there's some touchscreen controls. I think you use the touchscreen to scroll through your items over here and your weapons over here, or whatever it is. And you use the back touchpad to slit people's throats and stuff like that. So I'm like, whatever. Just the fact that I'm going to be able to play Metal Gear Solid 3 on the go. I don't know when I'm actually going to play it, because I'm going to play through Lara Croft Go. Then I want to get back to Zelda, beat that DLC. It sounds like I've got no chance in hell of ever getting the Master Sword all the way powered up. So I want to play that. I still got to beat the Frozen Wilds, and then hopefully there's a couple things I might get around the 25th of this month that will then I'll be whatever. So I don't know when I'm actually ever going to get to it, but it was $5. It's Metal Gear Solid 3. It's my favorite game of all time still, so I had to buy it.
Yeah.
Had to buy it. That's really it. It's a really slow time of the year. We're going to run through a couple really quick news items before we get to our top 10 games of the year, which I'm very excited, and I'm very interested to see what both of us have picked. So there was actually, this came out right after we recorded the last episode, but there was an interview with Kojima on IGN where he talked about Death Stranding, which is not Silent Hills and which is also not Metal Gear Solid 5. He talked about what death is in the game. Quote, "Games started over 40 years ago with arcades. When the player dies, it's game over. You continue and time goes back to before you die. You can die as many times as you want, but you always go back a little bit before you die. That was a mechanic made specifically for putting in coins, and it hasn't changed since then." It's very true. As Kojima spoke of the way a vast majority of games treat the concepts of life, death, and mortality, it was clear that Death Stranding was aiming to eschew this tradition. Quote, "One of the themes of this game is life and death, so I want people to realize that when they die in the game, that isn't the end." Partway through the latest clip from Death Stranding, Sam, played by Norman Fetus, watches as an explosion engulfs the giant Lovecraftian kaiju. I don't know what that means.
I don't know what you said.
A Lovecraftian kaiju. A kaiju I know is a big monster, whatever, but I don't know what Lovecraftian is. I have no idea what that means. Sorry, I'm not nerdy enough to know that, I guess. That projects through the fog. Suddenly we see an upside-down world submerged in water where Sam exists among the flotsam and jetsam of the universe around him.
Sam exists among the float version of Sam.
From the sound of it, this is where Sam and the player go every time they die. But don't make the mistake of calling this game over. When you die in Death Stranding, you're transported to this purgatory where you're free to explore in first person, which is also weird that it's in first person. Because of some mysterious, unique abilities that Sam possesses, you can wander outside of your body, recovering items, among other things. As Kojima explains, quote, at this point, you're not dead or alive. It's the equivalent of that screen that says, continue, and a counter ticking down to 0. From what Kojima told us, here's how it sounds. When you're ready to return to the world of the living, you can get back into your body. However, unlike most games which set you back to a point before you died, Death Stranding acknowledges your defeat and seems to embrace it. You're transported back to the world after your death, like in Dark Souls or roguelikes, where your actions maintain an aura of persistence. The mechanic of dying is ubiquitous in video games, but it sounds as though Kojima is implementing systems inspired by purgatory and reincarnation as well. Quote, so as you saw in the trailer, you saw the crater, and when you come back, it's still there. Most games would have taken you back to before the crater was made. So depending on the player, you might have a lot of craters all over the place. Depends on the player. Death will never pull you out of the game, Kojima firmly stated. This is very weird. And it also, again, I'm still kind of nervous about this.
Yeah.
This game just in general. Like, so what if you suck at this game and you just die? And it's like, well, okay, now you're like at the end of time, you know? And the Lovecraftian kaiju has it's won. Like, I don't understand how this works in a video game. It's very odd.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on if time, I guess, is truly... It'd be one thing if the game played out in more or less real time. Like, not really, but kind of like Majora's Mask, where there's like a timer, and it's basically saying, you need to beat this game by this time. And if you die, you don't go back to the time before you died. That clock is still ticking since the last time you died. If it's that kind of mechanic, then yeah, that could be interesting. But if... I mean, like Mario, who's to say, are you really going back to before you died, or are you going back to right when you died? I mean, it's all relevant. It's not relevant. It's all, I don't know what it is.
It is, though.
I don't know what it is, but
I like what he's saying. It's true, though.
It is so, I don't even know what it means, but it is so Kojima.
It's so Kojima. You just know it when you hear it or see it. Yeah. It's Kojima gonna Kojima. The next thing he talked about is timefall. And in the most recent trailer, you might have noticed a mystical, unnerving rain that seems to have the ability to manipulate time. It makes plants grow and wilt the second a droplet hits them. It makes a human body age and deteriorate in a matter of seconds. That rain, which is not of this world, is called timefall. It is an integral part of Death Stranding's story and lore. So how does this affect Norman Reedus' Sam? As Kojima explains, quote, most people in the game are aware of the rain, and well, Norman is quite unique in this regard. I think I should stop there. I'm spilling the beans. You didn't say
don't
anything.
give too much away. Jeez.
When we asked if this timefall had anything to do with the recurring motif of Sam crying, Kojima joked, quote, the tears, that's really only because he's sad right now, end quote. So it's just another, I guess whenever the rain shows up, maybe you've got to go and hide, but it seems like it doesn't. Maybe you don't because it doesn't affect Norman Reedus. It just affects everybody else. Like you saw, like he said, like I remember there was the grass came up and then it died right away. Yeah. And they had the humans that were like, and they just wilted away. Very odd. The only other thing he talked about that was the baby. The baby is a big focal point. And he said that the baby relates to game mechanics and the story as a whole. What a freaking I don't know. Like you saw, like when, like I think we talked about last week when somebody picks up the baby, that's when their little robot little eye thing starts coming alive and it's looking for the sorrow and whatever. So the baby is mechanics and story. We knew it was going to be story, but it's also gameplay apparently. Yeah. Kojima also obviously loves hearing all of our theories and encourages people to keep speculating on the game. Still don't know anything about this game. That didn't help at all. The death thing is cool, and I don't know.
It just seems like such a weird game, and we know so little about it that I almost think of it as right now. I almost think of it as more of a movie. Like I can't picture this as a game. I can't picture the
I don't know what you actually play.
Right. I don't know what you're trying to do. Like it just seems more like a movie to me right now. I am totally confused, and I'm sure that's what he wants.
How he wants
but
it.
Yeah, I don't get it. Sidebar.
Yes.
What is the difference?
Is this a riddle or a real question?
This is a real question.
Okay.
What is the difference between flotsam and jetsam?
I don't remember. I know I've heard of that before.
It's just like debris, right?
Yeah, but I don't know what is.
Is one of them like natural and one is like...
Well, one's Norman Reedus, and then the other one isn't. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. You always hear about them together.
Yeah.
You never hear somebody say, look at all that flotsam. Where's the jetsam?
Oh,
at?"
there's a jetsam.
No, it's over there. It's flotsam and jetsam.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I don't know. Just a question.
It was really more of a riddle then, because I think they just are always together.
I'm going to Google it.
Yeah, please do.
I'll let you know.
The last quick news item here is just a really quick bit that as of the beginning of December, the Switch has now sold 10 million units worldwide. So we both said when they released their last figure of 6 million or whatever, we said, I think they'll hit 10 million by the end of the year. I was so ballsy as to say I think they'll hit 12, thus beating the lifetime Wii U sales. That's going to be a stretch because I would assume most people that are buying them for Christmas have bought them on or around Black Friday. So
Right.
they're not going to sell 2 million in 1 month.
Yeah,
it's not going to
jump way up.
But the fact that they have almost outsold the Wii U in 9 months is insane.
I mean, it's impressive. A, it's impressive, but B, it really just tells you how bad the Wii U was.
Yeah.
Or how badly it performed.
How badly it was marketed, how badly it was not unexplained, just poorly explained, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, 10 million Switches sold worldwide. I was in Target the other day with Jess, looking around, said, yep, they had like 2 or 3 on the shelf. I was like, that makes me happy. Like, I don't want them to be sold out. I want people to be able to get them. This thing is awesome.
Yeah.
I do wonder what next year is going to be like. I assume we'll get a Smash. We'll get maybe Animal Crossing, and then the next year we'll get Prime and Pokemon, and who knows. A lot of people are wondering, like, if we're going to get more Zelda DLC. I don't think so.
I don't know.
Nobody said anything
I would love
about
to,
it.
but I don't think so.
Are we going to get Mario Odyssey DLC? I doubt it because they haven't said anything. I don't know. It'll be interesting what 2018 looks like because they brought out all the big guns this year to get this thing off to the right start.
Yeah.
Did you figure it out?
Flotsam and jetsam are terms that describe 2 types of marine debris associated with vessels. Flotsam is defined as debris in the water that was not deliberately thrown overboard, often as a result from a shipwreck or accident. Jetsam describes debris that was deliberately thrown overboard by a crew of a ship in distress,
So
most
jetsam
often
is
to lighten
garbage.
the ship's load. They can both
Jetsam's
be
garbage.
garbage,
But flotsam,
jetsam,
jetsam is litter.
yeah, but not always with malintent. Malfeasance for malfeasance's sake. Flotsam is just debris from like an accident.
Yeah.
Jetsam is like, oh God, we're going down. We got to throw crap overboard so we don't go down.
I didn't see any flotsam or jetsam in the trailer.
Wasn't that the name? Was it Little Mermaid? There's some Disney movie, probably Little Mermaid because it's water, where there was 2, I think they were eels, and they were named Flotsam
Oh
and
my
Jetsam.
God, there were 2 eels, but I don't remember what their names were.
I think
That would
they
be
were
hilarious
Flotsam
if
and
they were-
Jetsam.
Did they eat garbage?
I don't know. They were garbage, apparently.
I think
one
we've
was
got-
thrown off a boat, and one escaped from a boat when it crashed.
I think we've got that on Blu-ray. I think we watched that with the kids last year.
I don't know that
when it
I've-
got re-released.
I think
or
I've
something.
seen everything from The Little Mermaid. I don't think I've ever sat and watched the whole thing start to
No
finish.
way.
I don't think so.
Really?
I never watched it as a kid.
Yeah, we didn't have it as a kid.
I know the music.
Yeah.
I know the
I
plot.
wanna
I just don't think
be-
I've ever sat and watched it from start to finish.
From flotsam to jetsam.
Flotsam to Jetsam. Never. Not once.
Oh, that is the news of the week. Like I said, it's the end of the year. There's no news here. So that's it. Death Stranding info and Switches sold. And now it's time for the fun to start. Who wants to go first? We should have talked about this before we started.
I'll go.
All right.
Get us started.
Top 10 games of the year for
Here, you take notes.
Sean White.
Okay. So I have one honorable mention. I'm not going to talk about it too much. I didn't go out of my way to come up with honorable mention, but when I came up with my list, there was 11. So it is what it is. Number 11 was Mario Kart. I figured it's fun. You know, we've all played Mario Kart before. It's basically the same thing that was on the Wii U, even though I didn't own it. Now I own it. Good game. Nothing special. Had some fun with it, and whatever. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Okay.
It looks like I wrote your name as Sam on here because I was writing very fast. I'm just going to write a
Is it
flop.
flots?
I'm going to write a flop before it.
All right. Number 10.
Number 10.
I don't know, do I want to give the title or do I want to start talking about it? I'm reading my notes from what I'm
Okay.
in the process of writing for Logan. I'll just say it. Number 10, Blaster Master Zero.
Ah, yes.
So when I'll just shoot from the hip and then I'll
You're
check my
shooting
notes.
from the hip, all right. A little bit lower.
Oh.
What was oh?
You'll find out in a second.
Oh, God. Would I like that?
I don't know. I like it.
You do like
It's
it?
good.
Okay.
It's better than like a Guinness. It's like
Whoa. You don't like Guinness anymore?
it's not that I don't like Guinness. I'm just saying it's more. It's not like it tastes like chocolate milk, but
Yeah.
it's got like flavor to it besides just I don't know. Go grab one. I'm sure you'll
Flotsam
like
and
it.
Jetsam. All right, you start talking about Blaster
All right.
Master Zero.
Blaster Master Zero. This is a game that when I bought it, I just kind of. I guess I'll say when I bought this game, I wouldn't have thought that it would have wound up on my top 10 for the year. It was just kind of a, hey, this is only $10. It looks fun. I think it was $10. It looks fun. I'm going to give it a go. I need to build my Switch library. Why not? The other thing is, I don't know about you. I think this is more me, but maybe it was you too. When I think of
Blaster Master on the NES.
my favorite NES games, obviously there's your Zeldas and your Star Tropics and your Marios and so on and so forth. Mega Man, DuckTales, what have you. But for whatever reason, I always also think of Blaster Master in high regard. Even though at the time, like before I bought this game, I couldn't really tell you what the game was like. I knew you
Right.
drove around in the car,
You knew it
and I
had
knew
the
you
two
could get out
parts.
of the car, and then you could go into things, and it was top down. But I didn't even really remember it was so Metroidvania-y.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I don't remember
I had
that.
no idea about that. Yeah.
But once I started playing this game, now all of a sudden it's like, okay, now I remember, A, this game is really good, and B, now it all makes sense why I remember the original one so fondly.
Okay.
Which I don't think we owned it, right?
We did not.
But I think we rented
It's one of
many
those
times.
Yeah.
Like
Like
yeah.
Wait, sidebar. Some people are joking around net neutrality. That sucks. That are like, some people are joking around like, well, hey, now if we can't get internet, maybe Blockbuster comes back. Maybe the kids actually can rent video games again.
You never know.
Yeah, probably not.
So yeah, number 10, Blaster Master Zero.
Blaster Master Zero, number 10. I like that. I had forgotten that you had played that.
Number 9.
Number 9.
This is kind of an odd one. Ultra Street Fighter 2. Odd because I don't even own this game. It's in my top 10. I don't own it. I'll
You played
probably
it for those 3 hours.
right.
Yeah.
I'll probably get it next year. I probably should have just put it on my Christmas list, but it's probably too late now. But
Well, but now you can just wait for the 30th anniversary collection, which I'm going to buy also. Oh, that's the other bit of news, the 30th anniversary with every Street Fighter game from 1 up until the last version of 3.
I kind of like how everything's
Yeah.
in one. Like I don't want to.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll have to read more into that to see if I'd rather have that or just get Ultra. But no, this game is, like I've said many times, I think the fighting genre is kind of over with. Just like the beat 'em up genre. It's sad because it's basically what we grew up with. I don't think there's much of a place for it anymore today, sadly. But this game, I mean, really, it's just an old game that they brought back. But it is just, it's beautiful. Like I don't know what they call it in the game, but the new modern graphics.
It's what they refer to it as the Udon graphics, because that's the comics line that did those, that drew the characters and all that. So it's like the Udon comics. If I'm saying that wrong, let me know. I think it's Udon.
It's beautiful. I think I prefer the old school graphics just because, but
not the Switch version.
The new ones are beautiful.
Yeah.
But it plays exactly like I remembered it playing back on, Champion Edition on the Genesis. It's just a perfect, I don't want to call it a port. I mean, it's a new game, but it's just, it makes me long for the days of true classic fighting games.
And like just sitting down, like we did the live stream, and that was just a crap show.
I went back and watched like the last 10 minutes of it, which was more or less our last fight, which had several pauses throughout because you started yelling at Logan in the chat. And we were just screaming. Oh God, I
brought back memories.
If it wasn't a 3-hour video, I would just go and watch that whole thing again.
Yeah.
And I might still anyway someday, but
yeah.
Or at least have it playing while I'm at work, and when we start screaming about something, I'll see what's going on.
Just fast forward to the last half hour.
Right, yeah. But that was so much fun. I love the game. There's no rules that say top 10 has to be games that you own.
Correct.
So I put it on there.
That is correct.
Number 9, Ultra Street Fighter 2.
Awesome. That makes me happy. And like I said, when you were talking about the the old school graphics, what I said is, and you might read what I've written about this on a website here in a little bit. Sean didn't notice it at first either, but I did. And I was like, these are not the right graphics. The graphics that they put in Ultra Street Fighter 2, the old school graphics, are the Street Fighter 2 on SNES graphics.
Right. It's
They're
not the arcade.
Like I had Sean when he came over one time. I was like, okay, look, we'll pull it up on the Raspberry Pi. Here's Street Fighter 2 on the Super Nintendo. Looks good, right? Yeah. And then I pulled up Street Fighter 2, the arcade version. And it was like, we were both like, whoa. Yeah. Like it's not a dramatic difference, but it is a pretty big, when you actually go back to back, you see them, it's a pretty big difference. And the arcade is the style. It holds up today. Yeah. It's absolutely beautiful.
Yep. Number 8. What Remains of Edith Finch? I wrote a whole review for this game on Nerd 901. You can probably find it. You can just search for it. Nerd901.com. Check it out. I wrote a whole review on it, so I kind of said all my thoughts on that. But the game is just beautiful. And I think one of the things I said in the game, or in the review, this is the angle I took for my review. And I know it's not meant to be negative, but I basically said to call this a walking simulator is like cheapening it. It's not. It's so much more than that. And the graphics are beautiful. The game is beautiful. But then the story and the storytelling is beautiful, and how minor spoiler. Not really spoiler, but just the way you play the game through like people's memories. So it's just such a cool way to tell a story. And the story itself was fantastic too. Probably it's close, but I'd still probably say it's my number 2 walking simulator behind Firewatch, but I don't even know what number 3 is. I probably Gone Home. And it's better than Gone Home. It's Firewatch, Edith Finch, Gone Home, and then like Adrift and
that
Rapture.
That doesn't even count.
That was the first review I ever wrote.
Yep.
I remember I was at Happy Mexican with Brittany drinking margaritas.
While you were writing it?
No.
Oh.
But I was drinking, and I was like, I was talking to Brittany about the game, and all of a sudden I was like, you know what? I'm inspired. I want to write a review about this game. And then the rest of this history.
Did she ever play through that? I know she played, or no, she didn't even play through Firewatch, did she?
No,
She did
played.
Journey.
She played through Firewatch.
She did.
Played Journey.
Okay.
She played Gone Home. She was gonna write a Gone Home review after I wrote this review. She's like, I kind of want to write one too, and then she beat the game and then never wrote the review
because it's not that good. Sorry,
but no, she would probably. I'm trying to think if she watched me play through that game.
Yeah,
And even if she did, she probably doesn't remember it. So I should have her play through E to the finish too. But anyways, that's my abridged thoughts on the game. Again, I wrote a whole review on it. You can find it on nerd901.com. That'll give you all my full thoughts that I actually wrote while I was more or less playing the game.
I thought you were gonna say more or less drunk.
Well, that too. So number, what was that?
That was number
7?
8. Number 7. This is pretty good. It doesn't. I was worried when I was like, I'm not ever gonna drink these. I thought it was gonna be too chocolatey, but it is just
No,
like
it's
a
not.
stout. It's just a stout. Yeah.
Right, yeah. All right, so number 7. I have some thoughts here. Because
boy.
ultimately, this is a little lower than I would have originally thought it would be.
I have a few of those.
Metroid.
Wow.
Samus Returns.
Okay. I'm sorry for yelling in your ears.
So I'm looking over my thoughts here that I wrote. So yeah, when this game was first announced, I was like, holy crap. Yeah, like Super Metroid to this day is still one of my top 10 games of all time, maybe top 5. Like it's a 10 out of 10 easy.
Yeah.
But I probably think at least 10 games are 10 out of 10s.
Yeah.
So of all
Same
of those
here.
10 out of 10s,
Where does it rank? Yeah.
it's probably in the top 5. Like to me, it's perfect. It's my own fault, but I think going into this game, I was expecting Super Metroid, but better graphics. Because I'd never really played the original.
Yeah. I mean,
I
not many
knew what
people
the
did.
gist was. I knew you had to capture the Metroids or whatever.
Capture is
but,
BS. You obliterate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Capture their DNA.
Yeah.
But in the end, I mean, it's a great game. I enjoyed playing it, but it didn't quite seem. It was almost not Metroid-y enough for me, and I think that's because, I mean, it's what they had to work with. They were remaking a like almost 30-year-old game.
They weren't making a new.
It wasn't
2D
a new
Metroid.
right,
Yeah.
which I wish they would. And so they were kind of pigeonholed into, well, here's the story we have to tell. We also can't venture too far off from the gameplay if we're still going to call this a remake or whatever you want to call it. It definitely got better as the game went on. But I feel like in the beginning, none of the power-ups for my gun or my abilities or whatever were like game-changing. Yeah, it would let me open this door that I couldn't open before or whatever. But it was just like I kept waiting for the game to get going, and all the Metroid fights were, at least in the beginning, were kind of repetitive. I'm like, I gotta fight this guy again and whatever. And then towards the end, once you get the space jump and the screw attack and the phaser beam, whatever lets you shoot through walls and all that.
The purple,
then it started really getting
death.
going, and you start fighting the different Metroids plus a handful of different bosses. And the final boss was awesome. The game finally, not a pun here, but it started rolling towards the end, and it now is starting to feel like Metroid. And I think I even said when we were talking about it, when you get through world, I don't know what they call it, level, world, section,
area
8, I think, or 9, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, look at that, it connects
And it
back to the
goes all the way
beginning.
back
I'm like,
up,
just that alone was like, thank you. Something about that made me so happy to where it made it slightly less linear.
Yeah.
Now that it's like, it's time is a flat circle. It's all one big
Thank you.
loop instead of just a line to the end.
Right.
That you can warp back through whatever. So I really enjoyed the game. It was a lot of fun. But I think I got my hopes up a little too high for it. Not knowing what Metroid 2, for the most part, not really knowing what it was. But the gameplay, the actual gameplay, like the controls and stuff, were great.
Yes.
And the melee, the block attack thing, like that was a cool addition. I love that. That was awesome. But I hope they just I'm looking forward to Prime 4. but I hope they also make a brand new side-scrolling Metroid for the Switch.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to Prime 4 a lot. But
not.
I would love to see, even if it's like a Mega Man 11 kind of thing. You don't need to, put it into full gear with the graphics and everything. Like, you can make it simple. You can make it look like Super Metroid for all I care.
Sonic Mania.
But just a new 2D Metroid game. That's all I ask.
I like that. One thing I forgot to say before we started this, I forgot to do the disclaimer, Sean, that these are our personal top 10 games. We haven't played every game.
Oh, there are probably at least 10 games that you're going to see on almost every other top 10 of the year that I haven't played. You're not going to see Destiny 2 on here. You're not going to see... Was Persona this year?
Persona was this year.
You're not going to see any of those. I mean, I didn't play them. So
we didn't play Nier. We didn't play Neo.
Yeah.
We don't own an Xbone. Not that anything came out on the Xbone this year other than like Cuphead, which probably would have been
on mine for sure.
But just the disclaimer that we can't play everything. We don't get review copies. We have to buy all these games ourselves. So I forgot that disclaimer at the beginning.
Yeah.
So number 6.
All right, number 6. Sonic Mania.
Okay.
To me, this is almost kind of the opposite of Metroid, in that my hopes were sky high for Metroid, and it disappointed. I mean, it fell short of my expectations.
Right.
Sonic Mania, I was excited when I heard it was coming, but then when I started thinking about it, I'm like, Sonic has a special place in my heart, as it does for you too. Growing up Sega kids, as you've all heard many times by now. But when you really look back, what's the best Sonic game? 2? 3?
I still think before this year, I would say Sonic 3, I think, but it seems like I'm in the minority with that. It seems like most people prefer Sonic 2.
Yeah.
I still think my favorite graphical style actually is Sonic 1.
Yeah.
And some people don't like Sonic 3 because it's almost that 3D. It's almost like a Donkey Kong, you know? But I think Sonic 3. I guess
what I'm getting at is I think the best Sonic game, if it's Sonic 3, is probably still below Mario 3.
All the good Marios.
Mario World. Probably Mario 1. Mm-hmm. Better than Mario 2, but it's below 64. It's below Galaxy. It's below... I mean, the best Sonic game is still worse than many Mario games.
I would concede that, yes.
And when I think back to Sonic, I'm like, it was fun at the time, but I feel like now that I'm a more, seasoned and evolved gamer, I feel like I don't know that I would enjoy them as much. I feel like they just are very repetitive, and it's just, get from here to the end as fast as you can, just wee, 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 and go flying and bounce and bounce and bounce and let the level just kind of take you to the end. And so I'm like, this is going to be cool. It's going to be a blast from the past, but...
A master blast.
A master blast from the past. Dang it, I should have said that. Maybe I'll add that to my write-up. But in the end, I was pleasantly surprised. I don't know that if it's as easy as Sonic is better than I remember, or if it's just this version with the new worlds, the new zones, and the nostalgia of playing the old zones again, but with tweaks to make them all better. Mm-hmm. None of those tweaks, none of those additions took away from it.
Yeah.
They all made it better. You could have screwed those worlds up, and everything they added to it made it better. And so in the end, I mean, I was excited for this game, not as much as you, but I was excited for it, but I wasn't expecting to be blown away.
Yeah.
And in the end, I don't know that I was blown away, but it was better than I was expecting, I would say. And it's halfway through my top 10 of the year, so it's got to be pretty good.
I like it.
So, Sonic Mania.
I like it. Number 5.
Number 5. Final Fantasy XII Zodiac Age.
Ah, yes. This is my number 1.
So, I am a big fan of Final Fantasy 12, and I'm seeing, I don't know if it's a bandwagon kind of thing or what, but I've
like
always loved
revisionist
that
history
yes,
from everybody
but
else. Yeah.
Ever since this game came out, or ever since it was announced even, I see a lot of people like, yeah, I love that game. That's one of the best ones. Da, da, da. For the most part, you hear like
BS, where were you?
10, 9, or 7 are usually people's favorites. I always loved 12. And I thought that it was ahead of its time when it came out. Like, when you look at 10 compared to 12, 10 seems like a big game. But a lot of it, you're kind of just on these, like, paths. Like, if you look at the map, like the playable map, it's like lines. And maybe it opens up into, like, this field.
Okay.
And then it's back to, like, lines and whatever.
Like an overworld kind of a thing?
Well, there's the overworld. But I'm saying even when
like
you
an
play
overworld like Mario 3 kind of overworld.
No. Like, you'll be in, like, these woods. But you got to stay on the path. Like,
Okay.
you can see, there's a lot of
gotcha.
trees back there. And, there's
ain't
like a
going
river.
over there.
But you can't go over
There's
there.
all these
You have to
invisible
stay on the
walls.
path.
Yeah,
kind of
okay.
thing. This game was not, I mean, there were some parts, you couldn't literally go everywhere. It wasn't Zelda, but the whole game was mostly open. It was a lot more open. You weren't confined to, like, a path for most
The
of it.
original 12 was also, or this one?
No, 12, even the original.
Okay,
game was.
okay.
That's what I'm saying. Even on the PS2, I thought that game was way ahead of its time.
Okay.
And it really changed. I never played 11, so I may be wrong in saying
Was 11
this.
another MMO?
It was on, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But for me, at least the games I played, Final Fantasy 12 changed Final Fantasy. And it was, again, I don't know about 11, but to me, it was the first one that you didn't have, like, the battle screen. You didn't, like, run into an enemy and then and then you fight. Like, everything's taking place out in the open, and it changes the way the game play. It plays more. It's just like Final Fantasy for the new generation. It plays more like games today should play. And I love 10, but that style was kind of past its prime, I think, even by that point. So it was a game that I was really glad to see was getting not a reboot, but a remake, remaster, whatever. Plus, it was the Zodiac Age, which is based on the international version, which was better than the one we got here to begin with. So it was something new. It wasn't just a complete remaster. There's a lot of new stuff in the game, and they changed a lot of stuff that I found more and more out as I played through it. But the game was great. It's not the best story told in Final Fantasy, but just gameplay wise, easily one of my favorites. So
my nose is running.
And the funny thing, what is this, number 5?
5.
So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 6 games.
Mm-hmm.
All but Edith Finch.
Oh, yeah.
Are all remakes.
They all came
remakes, remastered, whatever. So
yeah.
I thought that was kind of funny, but yeah. So
And
number
people
5,
Final
Fantasy
people,
12.
Some people complain about that with this age, but I think it's great, especially with something like Final Fantasy 12, where it's not just like, let's just smooth out the jagged edges and stuff. Like,
Right.
It's
They offered new. Yeah. Plus, there's a whole game mode in it that I haven't even touched yet.
Really?
It's like the Beyond Oasis, where there's that 100 levels thing, and if you beat it,
okay.
It's that kind of thing where you progress and enemies keep getting harder and harder and harder, but you get to use your save state. So however much you've leveled up in the game, that's what you're playing. And
Gotcha.
I kind of forgot about that until just now. I haven't even tried that out yet, so it gives me a reason to go back and play it again. But yeah, what were you saying?
I was just saying, like, what was I saying? Oh, the people crap on all the HD remakes and all this other stuff. I'm like, if you just make something HD and get rid of the jagged edges and stuff, yeah, that's kind of a waste. But when you remake the game, there's a difference between a remaster and a remake, and this is clearly a remake, along with being a remaster. That's why I still hold out hope.
I agree with what you're saying, but I would still call it a rematch. I mean, it's not. I would say I think it was on PS3 when they did the new DuckTales.
Yes.
To me, that's a remake. They started from scratch. This is still very much the old engine. It's still the same character. They cleaned everything.
I guess
up.
I was just
they
thinking
did
of it
add
being
some new
the,
content,
the Zodiac,
but it's not like
version.
they remade the whole game.
Yeah,
they
okay.
started with what they had and cleaned it up. But
either way, that's.
But no, it was more than just grad. They did add
Yeah.
stuff. But I mean, for the most part, it's just mostly making it look prettier. But
That's why I hold out hope, Konami. I hold out hope.
you just get the pachinko machine.
Speaking of which, Metal Gear Survive is getting a online co-op beta for open beta for free, and we are going to tear that thing to shreds when it comes out. I can't wait. Sorry, I went to a dark place there. Number 4.
Okay, here's where it gets tough,
Yeah.
and people are going to disagree with me here. Number 4, Super Mario Odyssey.
Okay.
So as I said on here, I'm sure a lot of people have this as like game of the year when they do their lists. I couldn't put it higher than 4.
Okay.
It's beautiful. It's a lot of fun. There's some strange control choices, mechanics, what have you. But still, it's a lot of fun to play. I feel like it peaked a little too early. It very much peaked in New Dawn City,
yeah.
especially that part, which was one of the just most joy-inducing. Like, I just loved that. It was so much fun. And then it was almost like going on vacation or something, and then being like, okay, back to the real world. And not that the game isn't good, but it peaked there, and then it's like, well, where do you want to go next? Let's go to the lake world. And it's like, oh, but
Right,
I want to.
go to
It
the-
was so much more fun.
go to
It
the
was
soup world.
different,
Yeah.
and but I haven't even played the game, and again, I've been very busy the last couple months. But I don't think I've played it since maybe a couple weeks after it came out. So it's probably been about a month now since I've played it.
Yeah.
And I feel like the longer I've spent away from it, I'm realizing I don't know that I want it. It too gets
Brute.
kind of repetitive.
Yes.
And it's cool that there are so many power moons. And I don't know, it's the chicken and the egg. I don't know if they said, I want this many power moons in there. Find a way to get that many in there. Or if they just said, well, just put a bunch in there and we end up with what we end up with. But in Mario 64, I go back to that because I played that game a lot. I owned the first Galaxy, but not 2. And I didn't even really play it that much. But whenever you got a star in 64, it was an accomplishment. This game, it's almost like you're finding Korok seeds. Like you just be like, hey, there's a power moon. Yay. Or whatever the song is.
You just see like a little mound of dirt, and there's like the colors are there. You're like,
Right.
Okay, there's a moon. Jump on it. Okay,
Stop it. I got to move.
That
And
was
it's like,
hooray.
right. It just, when I first started playing the game, I'm like, I want to get every single moon.
Yeah.
But now I'm just like, it's not, I feel like it would be torture almost. Like I enjoy playing the game, but trying to find all of them when you have that many, it no longer feels special when you find one, I guess. And so it's almost like finding the Korok seeds in Zelda. And as I was playing Zelda recently, yeah, there's some where you just see a rock that looks out of place and you pick it up and you find a Korok seed. But then there's
or whatever
but
they
there's
say.
some where I like stepped on this thing and all of a sudden you could hear this tick, tick, tick,
And you're like,
tick. I'm like,
oh,
what's
wait,
going on? What's going
I gotta
on?
hang glide
I
over
look up,
there.
Oh,
and- yeah.
there's like a circle at the top of the waterfall. I got to put my Zora gear on and swim and go up the
Yeah.
waterfall and swing, fly through it. And then I get a Korok seed.
Yep.
I'm like, I don't care about the Korok seed, but that was at least
It's something
fun.
to do. Yeah.
Right. And but I think Mario is similar. There are some that are fun to get and you feel like I deserve this power moon. But then the ones that you just like, oh, I can walk behind that and there's a power moon back there. It's just like, it kind of took away. I wish there wouldn't have been so many power moons, I think that was the big problem. Again, I really love the game, and in other years, it probably could have been my game of the year, but I couldn't put it any higher than 4.
I know what you have left on your list, and I understand. No spoiler alerts for my list, but I know.
That being said, number 3, Resident Evil 7. Now, maybe this will change because I haven't played the game in probably 10 months. 9 months. Probably 10 months. 9 or 10 months.
I feel like I beat it within a week of it coming out. Like I just couldn't put it
Right.
down. Yeah.
But like I want to go back and play through that game again.
The DLC's out. I completely forgot about that. I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
there's
crap,
that too.
that's another thing. Again, like with Metal Gear Solid 3. When am I ever going to play that? I don't know.
But like I want to go back and play that game versus like Mario. I'm sure it's not like I'll never play Mario again, but I just have no desire to get back into that game right now. And maybe with time I will. Maybe, Resident Evil has had more time for me to stay away from it to where now I'm like, okay, I want to get back in.
Yeah.
But even not long after I beat it, I said, I want to beat this game again. I want to do it on easy because I don't want to be so stressed out and running out of ammo.
Well,
I just want to enjoy it. But
and it's also not so daunting like a Mario with all these different kingdoms and all these moons, or Zelda
Right.
that's 70 hours, or Horizon that took me 45 hours to platinum it, Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And as we've discussed on here, the last, I don't know, maybe 25% of the game, it goes downhill a little bit. It's still fun, but it's not. But that game starts out just so crazy. I mean, the opening is more or less what you played in the demo.
Yeah.
But then once you're in like the actual house and you're running away from Jack, and my heart was racing. Like in my mind, I was being chased by this guy. Like it messed with me bad.
Yep.
And like, so the first 75% of the game is unbelievable. Well, the first 75% is really, really good. The first like 33% is unbelievable. It is unlike
ridiculous.
anything I have ever played before. And like, it brings me back to when I was a 12-year-old kid playing the first Resident Evil. And I wouldn't
the
play
damn
it.
dogs jump through the
Right.
freaking window.
I couldn't play that game if I was alone at night. I couldn't do it. I'm like, I won't do it.
Won't do it.
And this brought me back to that, except now I'm a 33-year-old man, but when I was playing it, I'm a 32-year-old man.
Team Young.
And I still felt uneasy about playing it at night by myself. But even like in the middle of the day, there would be times where I really wanted to play this game, and I had to like convince myself to, because I knew it's just going to be very stressful, but like a good stressful, if that makes sense. Like there are other games like Horizon Zero Dawn. I want to go and play Frozen Wilds, but part of me is just like, I got to relearn all the controls. It took me a while to get good at that game. I know it's going to take me a while to learn it again and remember the strategy and all that. And to me, that's going to be stressful, and I don't want to play it because of that. I mean, eventually I will, but I'm just like, not right now.
It's a different stress. Yeah.
This was a different kind of, it was like a fun stress. It was like watching a scary movie. Like, you're going to be scared.
It's
kind
adrenaline.
of fun. Yeah. But I've never experienced anything like that in my life. I would say my top 4 games any given year could have theoretically won Game of the Year. But this year was loaded.
Stupid ridiculous.
From 5 down, they're not going to win Game of the Year.
Not for us,
From
but
4
there's
up,
games that we didn't play that people, like you were saying, that people would argue is the game of the year.
Yeah. This year, more than any other year, you might read 100 top 10 lists and see 10 to 12, maybe more, number ones.
It's really, I'm going to get, so when everybody, I think IGN launches theirs on the 20th is when they do their game of the year. It's going to be interesting to see if certain games split the vote. And I'm not just saying Horizon versus Zelda. I'm saying Horizon versus Zelda. You got the niche games like Neo and Nier. You got Persona, that's really the only RPG that's even talked about, because it's the only JRPG that's talked about in Game of the Year discussions. But you've got Mario and Zelda. Are they going to split the votes? Like, is something going to sneak in? Like, I don't know. It's going to be very, very interesting when everything starts getting revealed.
Yeah. So that's I can't remember if we talked about it on here, but we're both going to be collecting our thoughts, and they're going to be posted on
Irrational Passions.
Irrational Passions. So I started writing all that up today. I wrote down basically everything I just said from 10 through 3. And then I got to number 2, and I just got writer's block, and I couldn't think of what to write anymore. So what that means is now I'm just, again, shooting from the hip. I don't know what I'm going to say.
This whole thing, yeah.
But number 2,
obviously,
Horizon.
Yeah.
Again, like I've said for the last 2 games, any other year this could have been game of the year. I think if Zelda came out like 3 or 6 months later than it did, and I got to play through this game before playing Zelda, I think I would have liked it even more. Maybe not more than Zelda, but even more than I already do.
Yeah.
But that climbing mechanic, like that, just we'll talk about Zelda possibly in a little bit. But God, I wish if that was in Horizon, it would be very, very close. But the game is beautiful. It is fun. It is the story is fantastic. It's got, it's an action game, but with RPG elements and stealth elements. Like it's got everything. This game is fantastic. I'll say it, it's got a better story. Not that I'm breaking new ground here. It's a better story than Zelda.
Yes.
Zelda, Ernie will agree with us here. The story never changes. There's really no story in Zelda. That's not why people play it, but there's really no story. This had a fantastic story, and up until the end, I didn't really know. I mean, I gradually started piecing it together, but it was just, the story was great. The controls, once I really finally got the hang of it, were fantastic. It was the right level of, like, the easy enemies you can just kill with no problem. The medium enemies, if you play it right, you can probably kill them with no problem. If you can sneak up on them right, if you can approach it the right way. And then you have the daunting enemies that you really need to plan out, and you're going to be in for a fight. But then on top of that, you have people that you're fighting too, which you have a totally different game plan for. Like, there's a lot going on, but plus I feel like I barely scratched the surface.
Yeah.
I did a lot of melee. I know when Logan was here and he saw me playing, he's like, wow, you do a lot more melee than I do.
Yeah.
But I gradually, once I got a better bow, I started using the bow more, but I never really used the traps. I didn't use the sling. There's a couple other things. I literally I didn't even buy. So I feel like, I know I've barely scratched the surface because I haven't even done most of the side quests and stuff. And I don't know that I ever will. I'll play the game again.
Yeah.
But it's not like I have any delusions that I'll ever get through all the side quests. But I do want to go back and play it. I do want to go and play Frozen Wilds.
Wait till you see some of those enemies.
Oh, I'm sure.
Holy crap.
Well, that's the thing. Like, even once I finally learned how to play the game, then it was like, okay, well, how do I fight a Thunderjaw or whatever? And it's like, I eventually figured that out. But so now it's like there's enemies even tougher than that. So now I need to relearn the game in general, plus kind of relearn the strategy.
They're tougher. Yeah.
It's stressful to think about, and that's really the only reason I haven't gotten it yet.
The good thing is that I will say it kind of ramps you back up to that. It's not like you just jump in and then all of a sudden you've got these new enemies just right there. Right. There's a smaller enemy that you fight pretty early on. It's kind of like the Ravagers. But it's doable. Then when you get to the big one, like you get to the end of this one part of your main quest and you see this thing for the first time, and I'm like, I'm just gonna hide. I need to, like, I'm like crawling around. I'm like, I don't know where to go with this thing. Like, I don't know how to. This thing is just intimidating. Doesn't even begin to describe it.
Right. Yeah. And so that brings us to number 1. Obviously.
Bum, bum, ba-da-da-da-da.
Breath of the Wild. I don't know that it was ever really in any kind of doubt. As soon as I started playing this game, I'm like, game of the year, done. Then once I started playing Horizon, I was like, well, crap. There's some competition here. But now that I've gone back to Zelda, it's clear. Zelda is my game of the year. Especially now that, like, the first DLC, it's like I wasn't even really playing the game anymore. I was just doing this little side thing, and it was not the real game. The second DLC is more like
you
the
actually
actual
got stuff to do.
Game.
Yeah.
Right. And now that I've gotten my feet wet, I'm like, okay, I remember how to play this game now. I've gone back and just started playing the actual game again, not just the DLC content. The DLC, the DL content.
Downloadable content. It's like a PIN number, PIN number. No,
or
it's a
ATM
PIN.
machine.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the game is just, it's beautiful. It's not like photorealistic like Horizon, but it's beautiful in its own way. I'll never get that original sense of just exploration back. Like, you can't unring the bell. But even when I was just playing through, when you look at the path of the hero, or whatever it's called, like, there's a lot of places I haven't explored. And I started exploring them, and I got a little bit of that sense of exploration back. I'm like, holy crap, I've never been here. This is new. Like, and I'm finding new stuff. I'm finding new shrines. And just the fact that you have this huge world that it seems like it's just the right amount of shrines to where you can, if you want to go somewhere, you can probably teleport close enough to it and not have too much of a trek after that.
Yep.
Without being to just literally be like, oh, I want to go here. I want to go here. I want to go there. It's still, they make you kind of work for it, but not so much that it seems daunting. But the map is huge. It is huge. And the fact that you can literally go anywhere. Like, if you see it, you can probably get there on the map. It's just, it's unreal. Like, I could play that game, and people have, for like 200 hours, and there's still places you probably haven't seen.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you've probably seen it. Maybe you haven't set foot on it, but you've probably seen just about everything by then. But there's, so in kind of the top center of the map, just to the right of all the mountains, there's that snowfield area. Mm-hmm. It's a pretty big area on the map. I've got one line that just goes right through the middle, and that's it. And so I'm like, well, I've probably seen, I know there's no shrines there. I would have seen them if it was literally just a shrine. Yeah. But now I'm thinking, well, maybe there is a shrine. Maybe I need to blow a hole in a wall. Maybe it's behind something. Maybe I need to do something to make it pop up. Like, as much as I feel like I've seen that whole area, I haven't really explored it. Like, there's so much left to do. And I find myself like, I'm back into the game now. Not like I was when I first bought it, but more so than I've been since I first kind of put it down.
Yeah.
Like, I'm back in. I've got the hang of all the controls again. I want to explore more. I want to find new things. It's just, it's not, I mean, it's a 10 out of 10, but it's not a perfect game. It's one of those. There are flaws. I hope the next Zelda is the same gameplay style, but I miss some of the old Zelda. I hope they go back to like Fire Temple and Forest Temple.
8 dungeons and
all the levels seem kind of the same. I mean, they are. I mean, they're different, but they're all the same. All the bosses are kind of the same.
Yes.
They could improve on that. I like having to cook. I like all that stuff. I don't like that my weapons break.
Yes.
I would rather just have a handful of weapons that once you get them,
then the white sword,
they're
then
yours.
the master sword, yeah.
But even like, I'm fine with having like, I'm fine with having like a one-handed sword, a two-handed sword.
So you got to decide if you want to have a shield or not.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, but fewer weapons and don't have them break. That I see what they're going for, and the whole game, especially for like Eventide Island and the DLC, like, it's cool doing the whole procure on site kind of thing. But so I get why they had it go that way, but it could be better. But if they make a new Zelda game that plays like that, but it's got more of the old Zelda feel, traditional like dungeons and stuff and weapons that don't break. I mean, to me, that would be perfect.
Yeah.
But this is as close to perfect as I think we're going to get. So, yeah, number one, not that it was ever really in any kind of doubt. Number one, Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild. One quick note, when I said hook shots made me think, there was an interview with Aonuma and whoever the director is, that I can't remember his name because he's not Aonuma. They had thought about putting the hook shot in this. Obviously, it breaks the game then when you're wanting people to have to climb and stuff. If you have a hook shot, you don't need to climb. So they said, we can't do it. But at one point, they had the dual hook shots, kind of like in Twilight Princess, those were claw shots, but they had mapped it out to where you could basically swing like Spider-Man. Like, whooshing, and then whooshing with your dual hook shots and just going through the world. I'm like, that's not Zelda at all. I'm glad you didn't do that.
That would
like, sounds cool, but no.
Yeah. It sounds good, but it wouldn't have
in practice,
worked.
I don't think it would have worked.
Right, yeah.
Big shock, number one, Zelda Breath of the Wild for Sean.
Nobody saw that coming.
Not at all. All right, my turn. Time for Kevin's top 10 games of the year. I almost said week. I was like, well, Lara Croft Go is my number one game of the week. Before I get into it, I don't really have... Nothing to me felt worthy of being a honorable mention. If I played more of it, Telltale Batman might have made it. But again, it's like... It's a game, but it's not really a game. You know, it's like, it's just so... It's hard to... We bought Battlefront 2. I haven't even played Battlefront 2. Like, I'm glad I split the cost of that with the kids and wasted $25. I'm like, I don't know why I paid any money for this. Like, I don't even want to play it. It's just, I've heard so many bad things about it, but the kids love it. But they love
anything.
If it's Star Wars, they love. Obviously, Last Jedi was the best movie they've ever seen, just like Justice League was the best movie they've ever seen, just like Spider-Man was the best movie they'd ever seen, and so on and so forth. I do have a most disappointing game this year, though. And I kind of feel bad saying this because I haven't gone back to it because after they've made a lot of changes. But in the state that it released, by far my most disappointing game of the year, Super Bomberman R. What did you think it was?
I thought you were going to say Street Fighter 5.
No.
Was that last year?
That was last year. That was 06. I mean 16.
So they've changed stuff?
They've nerfed the computer AI.
Okay.
They've added different modes. They've added different characters and all this stuff. They've done a lot to it.
Is there a true single-player mode in that?
Yeah, it's stupid, though. Like, I don't want to play it.
But is it like...
It's not the traditional Bomberman. It's more like 3D. The camera angle goes down, and it's just... You still play it on a grid, but it just... I tried it, and I was like, this isn't... It's not fun. It's not like that it's too hard or anything. It's just not fun.
Yeah.
But this was like, you've heard us talk, if you've been with us for a while, you've heard us talk about Saturn, Bomberman, and it was one of our favorite games growing up. Definitely one of our favorite Saturn games. But I wanted this to recapture that, and it could have, and maybe it will now. But again, it's like when IGN scores a game, they score it at release. They don't go back and every time there's an update, well, it went up from a 6 to a 6.5, you know. So as much as it pains me to say this, Super Bomberman R was my most disappointing game of the year.
Yeah. I had very high hopes for that game.
Yeah.
And then once I started playing it, I'm like, it's too hectic. It's too hard. It's just...
The computer was almost unkillable.
Right. I do kind of want to go back and play now to see if it's better. But
and shout out to Konami for doing free updates and everything. That's awesome. It's very un-Konami-like. But yeah, most disappointing game, Super Bomberman R. Number 10. It's an oldie, kinda, but it's a goodie made new again. Nope, I screwed that up. It's an oldie but a goodie made new again. I don't know. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, damn it. Number 10. Mario Kart is Mario Kart to me. Like, I've never been the biggest Mario Kart fan. I never played Mario Kart 64 until we did it at Rec Room one night. I think was it with Jason and Brent? Did we play that with them? Who did we play that with?
I think that was with Nick.
With Logan,
Nick
maybe?
Or maybe it was when Logan was here. Yeah.
I'm not good at that game. And the joystick would only go, like the analog would only turn one way.
I don't like 64.
So it
controls weird. I don't like. Everybody loves that game.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the worst personally.
But see, I don't like Super Mario Kart, the original, because it's just like, if I played it more 20 years ago, I'd probably love it.
I love the game.
But now I'm like, I don't know what that was. But now I'm like, I don't like this at all. It's not fun. I get the Mode 7, everything. It looks great. At the time, it would have been amazing. But again, we were Genesis kids. I think maybe I might have played it at Randy's or something. Tim
Brent
didn't
had
have
it.
it.
I played it a
Brent
lot
did.
at Brent's, yeah.
And I played Mario Kart on the Wii a little bit. We didn't own it, but somehow we borrowed one from somebody, or I played it at somebody's house or something. I was like, okay, now this is getting fun. The motion controls suck, and they still suck in 8. I just don't like that. But then I was one of the like 7 or 8 people that owned a Wii U in America, and I got Mario Kart 8 on that, and I was like, first off, this is freaking gorgeous. Nintendo knows how to squeeze every ounce of power out of these games that they can. But then you go past that, and it was just pure fun. We had such a good time with it on the Wii U. It's probably played that more than anything else on the Wii U. I mean, other than Twilight Princess, because it took me 40 hours to beat it, but that doesn't count. But so much fun with it. So then when Switch gets announced, Zelda's a launch title, so Super Bomberman R. I'm like, well, I'm going to have 2 games to play. Awesome. Then April, Mario Kart 8 comes out. I'm like, whew. Okay, you got me. I'll buy it again, whatever. It comes with all the characters, all the tracks, new characters. Now you've got dual items. You've got the battle mode is back, a real battle mode. You've got different variations on the battle mode. You can see it in a Let's Play we did on the channel with the boys. It was a lot of fun. And it's like, so they took what ended up being my favorite, and I talked about it on our episode 75 when we did our 75 favorite games of all time. Mario Kart 8 was on that. I hadn't played Deluxe yet, I don't think. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, to me, it's my favorite Mario Kart game of all time. It's not like Gran Turismo. It's not like Forza or anything like this. It's just
it's very
pure
arcadey,
fun cars. But then they've even got things like the boys can beat me because they can just turn on the assist mode or whatever, where you can't go off the track. And it's like, I don't care. I don't take it personally.
It makes it so you can actually play it with them.
It's,
Otherwise,
it's so accessible where it's not like, I mean, now if you want to jump up to 200 cc's and go online and stuff, you're going to get roasted because some of these people, I don't know how I still haven't gotten the drift down. I still can't do it perfectly. Like once
I can do it pretty well, but I would even get my butt kicked online. Like,
it's just so much fun. It's one of those things where it's not like, it doesn't take itself seriously. It's so good. And some people say, well, it's not even Mario Kart anymore. It's like it's Nintendo Kart now. So it's got the Inkling boy and Inkling girl, and it's got Animal Crossing little pipsqueaks and stuff, and it's got Link, and it's got Zelda. But it's like, it's still, Mario Kart doesn't mean it just has to be Mario Kart, you know?
Right.
It don't be stupid like that.
Yeah.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, just so much fun.
Yep.
Absolute blast. Number 9. We shared this one. Ultra Street Fighter 2.
Same place.
Very, very interesting. Not to beat a dead horse, but Ultra Street Fighter 2. Street Fighter 2 Turbo probably is my favorite not probably, is my favorite fighting game of all time. More than Super, more than Street Fighter 3, more than 4, more than 5, which was a cluster. More than Mortal Kombat's, any of those, more than Turtles Tournament Fighters. It's just like Street Fighter 2 to me is still perfect. I think they got it perfect with Turbo. But you still had stuff, and then Super added in the 4 extra challengers, and then Super Turbo went the first time you had the super moves or finishing moves or whatever you want to call them. They added all that in, and what I'm trying to say is Ultra Street Fighter 2 to me is now the perfect version of Street Fighter 2.
Yep.
And one of the things I really like that I didn't realize bothered me about other fighting games until I started playing Ultra Street Fighter 2 is you don't get every other fighting game, you level up your EX gauge if it's X-Men or if it's Marvel vs. Capcom, whatever. You're leveling up for these super moves like in 5 seconds or something. In Street Fighter 2, in Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and now in Ultra Street Fighter 2, to get up to being able to do your Shinkyu Hadouken and stuff like that, it takes a lot, and it resets
like it's more or less
every
like
round.
A finishing move.
Yeah, like
if
you
hit it, it's going to kill him, basically.
And you have to work to get it. So it's like when you feel that satisfaction that, holy crap, I actually built my meter up all the way, and then you go down forward punch, and it just it's so much more satisfying to get these super moves like that instead of just boom. Like when they switched to the Alpha series in Street Fighter, that was the one. And it differed by character, but you could have some that could build up like EX1, 2, 3. Like they'd have the meter and it would fill up. And you could do this, but then you could do it 2 punches, then you could do it 3 punches. But still, like you're building up these super moves so quickly, and I just don't think that it throws the game out of whack. And I just think Ultra Street Fighter 2 did it perfectly.
Yeah.
Again, like Sean was saying, I love the new art style. The funny thing is, I have the best fighting game name of all time. Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo HD Remix on PlayStation 3, which is the same art style. And basically, it's almost the same game, but I love the art style. There are some purists that don't like it. I love the art style. One of the cool things you can do on Ultra Street Fighter 2 is you can change not just the art style, but the sound style also. So we found our perfect balance. I think we both agreed on this was the new art style with the old sounds. When you do the new sounds, it is not good at all.
Nah,
It's
I don't like it.
I don't like it at all. It doesn't fit. And if they would have put the arcade visuals for the old school graphics in this, I still do prefer that. I prefer that, but compared to the 16-bit version that they use for Ultra Street Fighter 2, I definitely prefer the Udon Comics graphic style.
Right.
And yeah, Ultra Street Fighter 2. And like I said, I'm going to buy Street Fighter again. It's up for pre-order on Amazon. I already pre-ordered it, the collection. Because the collection is Street Fighter 1, Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2 Champion, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Super Street Fighter 2, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Alpha, Alpha 2, Alpha 3, Street Fighter 3, Street Fighter 2 Double Impact, or whatever it is, and then Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. Like, everything that came out before Street Fighter 4, even the first Street Fighter that sucks, it's on there. I'm like, I have to. Like, the last time they did the Anniversary Collection on PS2, it was different. It's like you could pick any character from any game. And so I could pick like Super Street Fighter 2 Ryu and go up against Street Fighter 2 Ken, which is completely unbalanced. Is not a good way to do it. But they haven't done this where you get every game. They've never done this before. Like I said, Capcom's been doing great with...
But it's all separate game. Like you have to go and say, I want to play Street Fighter 2. Like you can't do what you just said.
Right.
Okay.
As far as I understand, yes.
But is it old school? Is it the arcade graphics? Or do they only have the new?
They haven't shown any... I don't think they've shown any screenshots yet.
Okay.
But I assume it'll be the... Like when they did like the Capcom Classics Collection, those were the arcade ports. So I think it will be the arcade graphics.
Okay.
Yeah. So please be excited. Number 9 is Ultra Street Fighter 2.
Plus, what you failed to mention, Way of the Hado.
The Way of the Hado mode.
That
we
was
actually
fun for a Let's Play. That's about it.
Go watch the Let's Play of us looking like a couple of just complete idiots who didn't decide to look up the instructions for this mode or anything ahead of time. And like, oh God, I've forgotten that we did that on the Let's Play. Go back and watch that.
Time.
Just Google 2-player co-op Ultra Street Fighter 2 and watch the 3-hour stream. Also, it helps our average view time. Thank you. Number 8. This finished lower than I expected, and I wanted it to be higher on this made-up list that I have. So I don't know why I care, but it's way lower than I thought it would be. Uncharted: The Lost Legacy.
Wow.
Number 8. Uncharted 2 was my game of the year. Uncharted 3 was my game of the year. Uncharted 4 was my game of the year. Uncharted: The Lost Legacy is not. And I was so excited when they first revealed this at PSX a couple years ago. Or I guess it was just a year ago now. Yeah, it was just last year. I remember the opening scene they're showing, and you can tell there's this woman that's got her face covered. All these people were like, it's the new Tomb Raider, it's the new Tomb Raider. I'm like, hello, that's Chloe. This is Uncharted, that's Chloe. And then when I was vindicated, I was like, yeah, you stupid like professional video game people. I knew that was Chloe. And the best part about this game was Chloe. And Claudia Black, who's a voice actor, is just awesome. Chloe was one of my favorite characters from 2 and 3. She's not in 4. That was a big disappointment for me because I love her as a character. So we all assumed that Uncharted 4 is going to get DLC. It's going to get DLC. We all assumed you're going to play as Sam, or you're going to play as Sully, or maybe even Elena or something weird, and you're going to be just sitting at home while Drake's out on adventures or something. But then when it turned out it was Chloe, I was like, well, this is awesome. I did not expect this at all. So it's Chloe and Nadine teaming up to go on a buddy cop adventure to go out and get the Tusk of Ganesh. And it sounds great, and it's still beautiful. Like, until Horizon came out this year, Uncharted 4 was the prettiest game I've ever seen. And Uncharted: The Lost Legacy is just as pretty. Just these environments are just jaw-droppingly beautiful. There's never any pop-in or anything like that. And I'm playing on regular PS4. I don't have a Pro. Just beautiful. And the interactions are so good. Like I said, Claudia Black as Chloe Fraser, so good. Laura Bailey as Nadine, for as much of just a blah character as Nadine is, she does a great job. These two have great interplay. Like the little banter that goes back and forth between them is so well done. And you get to learn about Chloe and where she came from and her family history, and all this is so cool and it's so well done. And it's like, but then there's still a game you have to play. And the game you have to play is still Uncharted 4, period, with nothing new at all. And it's got to the point now where I realize that, okay, it is time for Naughty Dog to stop making Uncharted. It's time, whether they were going to just end Nate's story or not, it was time to move on from this series. So this game, it took me 6 hours to beat. And it's an Uncharted game. You know what an Uncharted game is. It's going to be great story, great acting, puzzle solving, lots of climbing. And when they got to Uncharted 4, you knew they were going to shoehorn in the rope mechanic everywhere. Everywhere there's a cliff where you just got to throw a rope and you got to swing, you got to do it. Not only that, but they brought back the most frustrating part of Uncharted 4 for me, where you have to rope and you fall and then you slide and then the camera's weird and then you jump and you don't know where you're jumping to and you don't jump the right way. There's no rope thing and you just keep. And then speaking of Kojima and how game over stuff, you spawn right back. You're on the hill and you're sliding and you're like, the camera's still bad. I still don't know where to jump and I'm still dying. Break something. And then the Jeep, and you use the Jeep to solve the puzzles and everything. And my point is, like, I did really like this game, but compared to everything that came before it, it's unfair to it to say that it doesn't live up, because it doesn't live up because it is an Uncharted game. Does that make any sense? Like, you still climb, you still look for the
right.
Like, everything is the same. It's just with different characters this time, and it's. I don't know what Uncharted will come back at some point, either with new characters, or they'll reboot it and start over with Drake, or they'll do something where it'll come back, but it's got to evolve. Where you look at, like, I love the God of War series, and I cannot wait for Dad of War to come out next year. It's kind of the same. They made 6 games, if you count the PSP games, and then they're finally like, okay, we've been doing the exact same thing for 6 games. We need to change this. They've done that. I want Naughty Dog to do that with Uncharted. I don't want them to give it to somebody else at Sony. I want Naughty Dog to do it, but I want Naughty Dog to be like, we are the best, when it comes to making games. Let's take a step back. Let's see what Uncharted should be, what it can evolve to be, and go from there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I never played it, but I would have thought this would have been top 5 for you.
I thought it was going to be. It started in the top 5, and I was like, well, it's down. Oh, no, it's down. Oh, God, it's still going. Oh, man, it's still going down. But
yeah.
Again, it's still an Uncharted game, but it's just more of the same.
Right.
Even if the same is good, it's still just more of the same.
Understandable.
Number 7. Speaking of storytelling in video games, what remains of Edith Finch? Number 7 on my list. This is a game, and I kind of touched on it last week. So, like, when we played Firewatch, I loved Firewatch when I played it. Firewatch is one of those games, the more I thought about it as time went on, and the further away we got from it, I kept liking that game more and more without even playing it. That's what Edith Finch has also done to me. Like, the further I get away from this, I'm like, my God, a game has never done storytelling in this way. And kind of like Sean did, we're not going to spoil anything, but like he said, it's, you play through, the whole point of the game is Edith Finch is going through her family history, and there's been all these horrible deaths and all this other stuff. And that's not spoilers. That's just what the game is. And you play through those via each character, each family member's perspective. And it's such a cool way from, like, I think it was the first one when you go into that dream world, I guess, when you're going along the trees and stuff like that. I was like, this is so cool. Like, but I can picture a kid having this going on in their mind. But then,
they did it perfect.
Yeah. But then there are some rough moments in this. There's like
the
tub. I could almost not play it. It was so, oh my God. But then they like the hatchery.
That one was
scene.
just fun.
Yeah. But think of how messed up this person is in their head, and they think they're they're going to be like king or something. Wasn't it something like that?
Yeah, I think
they
so.
were going to, it was just like, and then how, so it's a very, very emotional game. And I feel like I might have already given away too much, but storytelling, I've said many times, what brought me back to video games in 1998, I mean, I played it in 99, I think, was Metal Gear Solid. And it wasn't because it was the best playing game ever. The controls aren't that great. But that was when games evolved as a storytelling medium. And I always, which made this year so difficult, I value storytelling in games. As long as the rest of the game is there. Like I'm saying with Uncharted, it really wasn't, I value storytelling in games so much. And there's storytelling and story. The storytelling in this is unlike anything I have ever seen. Like you said, walking simulators kind of get a bad rap and everything, but this was just something I had never seen before, and it really stuck with me, and it got more and more powerful as time has gone on.
Yeah, that's another one. I'm torn between just going back and playing it, or kind of like I did with Firewatch, have Brittany play it and just be like, let me know whenever you're going to play this. I want to watch.
Yeah.
Don't play it without me, So I get to experience it, but maybe have her play through it. But I do need to go back and go through that again for sure.
Yep, it's great. It's great. I kind of wanted it to be higher on my list also, but this is just, even for the game, only the games that we played this year is freaking stacked.
Yeah.
So Edith Finch is my number 7. Number 6. We shared this one as well. Sonic Mania. So there's going to be a lot of repetition on this list, at least with games, not necessarily with order. Sonic Mania, I remember in July 2016, we had decided to make the leap to YouTube.
Yep.
Our very first episode was...
And one of our best, one of our most viewed.
Biggest, yeah, when we're not talking about Bob Mackey.
Or doing WWE.
Yeah. It's over 36,000. I don't get it. Sonic Mania was announced the weekend of Comic-Con in July 2016. And I remember it was a slow news week because it was Comic-Con. So there was we were thinking about Justice League trailer, and we got the teaser for that and blah, 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 blah. We're like, what are we going to talk about for video games? And then Sonic Mania happened. It was like, I think we only got a trailer that was maybe a minute and a half or 2 minutes long. But just seeing that, I was like, this is Sonic. Sonic hasn't been Sonic since 1994.
Yeah.
And Sonic was back. And like Sean said, this is such a big part of our childhood where we chose a Genesis over a Super Nintendo, mostly because of price, because it was $99 instead of $200. But also, we fell for the marketing. And I don't want to say fell for sounds bad, but we bought into the marketing of Sega is cool and Sonic is cool and he's fast and he's different than this fat plumber that just jumps around on poor little Goombas. And then Sonic 2 took it to the next level, and like we said earlier, Sonic 3, I think, took it really to the next level. And then ever since then, even Sonic Spinball was okay, but we got Sonic 3D Blast was just weird, and then they just abandoned the 2D to go to Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic 06, probably the worst game ever made, and then that was so bad. So then they did Sonic the Hedgehog 4, and I had my hopes up for it, and I bought episode 1. And I was like, he's not his jump is weird now. He's no longer a circle when he jumps. He's like an egg. So it's it's one of those things where I can't even describe it unless you see him jump. You'd be like, oh yeah, that's not right. That would be hard to play. They only did 2 episodes. I think they had more planned, but it just didn't sell well and it didn't review well at all. And I was like, Sonic's just dead. I don't like any of the 3D games where you're just running on rails. It's just that's not what Sonic is to me, my friend. You see what I did? Well, that's what Christmas means to me, my friend. I don't know why I went there. But then Sonic Mania, I saw it. I was in love. It got delayed a couple times because everything gets delayed. But the biggest thing about this when it got announced was that they said they were working with Christian Whitehead and a couple other people that had made these Sonic fan games and had worked on Sonic ports for iOS. And they love Sonic. They know what Sonic should be. And that Sega felt comfortable enough to say, yes.
That's awesome.
Go make Sonic Mania. So when I knew that, I was like, this is going to be as good as it gets. It'll probably never get better than this. I do think Sonic Mania is the best Sonic the Hedgehog game ever made.
Yeah.
It's better than 2. It's better than 3 because, like Sean was saying, it took the best parts of some of the earlier games, and it could have screwed that up, but no, it took like Chemical Zone. It took Casino wasn't in it, but you had Green Hill. I remember firing up for the first time and hearing that Green Hill soundtrack, like, oh my god, this is it. And then it's like, this seems like Green Hill, but oh no, that I used to go that way, now I can't. And the level design in these games, I can't imagine. It's not like Mario where it's just you go from A to B. And maybe there's a pipe you go down, but then you go down, you come back up, you always end up on the same plane, basically. Sonic is like, if you ever look at a picture of how these levels are designed, they're like, you start here, and then it's just like this gigantic, huge rectangle with like the goal's over here, but there's 3 or 4 different paths you can go.
Right.
And do you want to go, like, not every level is just about going fast. Sometimes you get where you got to do just real big platforming stuff. You get those levels like where you go into the background, which was so cool. I was like, cool. This is so cool. I didn't think they would do this. And the only downfall to this was I hate that last world. It's horrible. It's confusing.
Oh, yeah. You
had the stupid things you had to roll around, and I could never get that right when you would jump right. And and also, oh my God, the boss of
Oil Ocean.
It
was called. Yeah.
It was very frustrating, but it wasn't even like, it wasn't a good frustrating. It was just like, this is just cheap and not well designed. This is not good. It's not that I'm just bad at games. So those were the 2 things that if the last world would have been better, it probably would have finished a couple numbers higher on my list. But Sonic Mania, my number 6 game of the year for 2017. Is there anything you didn't talk about or I didn't talk about with it?
With Sonic?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think we covered it.
All right. Number 5. Another game that kept dropping the more and more I thought about my list. Super Mario Odyssey.
Wow. Okay.
Number 5.
You had it lower than I did.
I did. And the fact that some people are trying to say this is the game of the year, I don't get it. So this was really, I've talked about it before, but I've never been a 3D Mario guy. I dabbled in 64. That's really it. I never played Sunshine because that's stupid. Galaxy I tried, but I didn't like having to do the nunchuck and the waggle. I was like, this isn't Galaxy. If I could just use a controller, it might have been better, but I didn't like the motion stuff. So I've just never been a Sonic, I've never been a 3D Mario type of guy. This game, I think it's the best 3D Mario ever made. Again, it's really the only one I've played a lot of. But that being said, I had a lot of issues with this. The game, first of all, it's kind of echoes your points. This game didn't stick with me. Like, I beat the game. I did some of the post-game content in the world that you get to right after. It was just so cool from a nostalgic perspective and stuff, and some of the puzzles in there were really cool. And I went to the moon and whatever. It's not a spoiler. It's just you go to the moon. Yeah. And I was like, I just put it down and I haven't gone back. I put in right at 15 hours, I think, on this. And like Sean was saying, I haven't gone back to it in weeks now. My boys are still playing through it and they like it, but it just didn't hook me. Like, I wanted to beat the game, and like New Donk City, if you don't know what happens there, don't let it get spoiled for you. Just get there, get to the end of New Donk City, and just you will have your mind blown.
Yep.
I like the Bowser fights. I didn't like the rabbit bad guys, the Brouhahas. What were they?
Brutals.
The Brutals. I didn't like them.
Brouhahas.
I wish it would have just been the Koopa Kids.
Yeah.
And that's probably nostalgia talking, but I didn't like them. Some of those boss fights were super easy. The game wasn't very difficult until you get to post-game stuff. It's not a difficult game at all. And I don't know. The main thing I had, though, is them forcing these damn motion controls into this game pissed me off. When you've got so many buttons, whether you're playing on the Switch or you're playing with a Pro controller, you have the same amount of buttons. And half of them, if not maybe more than half, are not used. Yep. Like Y and B do the same thing as X and A. L1 and L2 and R1 are like nothing. There's all these unused buttons. So if you're playing with a Pro controller, because they're like, oh no, the recommended way is to hold the two Joy-Cons. I'm like, I'm not going to play like this. I'm not going to do it. So if you want to like if you want to throw your hat and have it circle around, you gotta throw it, and then I'm just doing this. I'm afraid my Pro Controller is going to go flying out of my hand.
Right.
I could never get the Kung Lao thing where your hat goes down and
I don't even
spins
know
and
you
goes
can do
forward.
that. I've never done that.
Because you can't do it on the Pro Controller. It's like impossible. To get it to just go up, it wouldn't do it. It would want to do the spin throw when I didn't want to do the spin throw. I don't like that. If they would go back and patch that out and be like, okay, well, you can use X to do a spin attack or something, that would make the game, maybe it would make it too easy. I don't know. But the controls were a major issue in this for me. And I prefer Mario to be side-scrolling, period.
Mario is at its best when it's a platformer. But
to give it a major plus, my favorite part of the game was every 2D section in this. So cool.
That was
I almost wish they wouldn't have shown that in any of the trailers or gameplay footage or anything. I wish it would have just been like I go down a pipe and I'm like,
right.
You gotta be kidding me. Like that would have just, speaking of mind-blowing, that would have been mind-blowing. So I feel like I'm really ragging on the game. I did really enjoy my time with it, but I if this wins Game of the Year from anybody, I'll be like, man, you didn't play some of these other games.
Yeah.
You just didn't. I just don't think it's that good.
So I remember you were very apprehensive because of the hat. Do you feel like that had nothing? I mean, obviously that was the cause of some of the control things, but in the end, you're fine with the hat.
I was fine with the hat.
It's more just the controls.
It's just more that I think the 3D style of Mario games, how they are almost puzzle platformers for a lot of the game. Now, I don't know if the other ones are like that, but this was so much like you gotta capture a Goomba and you gotta stack them up 10 high. So you can go over there to Miss Goomba, so you can go, I'm so in love, and then she'll give you a star. Or you got to figure out there's so many puzzle elements to this which aren't really Mario to me, but I did like. So at the end of the day, I had more an issue with how you control the cap than the actual capture mechanic.
Okay, yeah.
Is what I would say. So Mario Odyssey, number 5. Put your pitchforks away. I'm sorry. It's very good. I think originally I had said a 9. I think it's dropped from that. It's about 8.5 for me. It's about 8.5. It's fine.
That's fair.
It's fine. Number 4, Metroid Samus Returns. I loved this game. This is a game that I definitely, clearly was more fond of than Sean was. This is a game that, after I bought this, every day on my lunch, I mean, I don't usually get lunch breaks, but I was like, I brought my 3DS to work, and I go, I'm going to go out to my car for an hour. I'm going to play this damn game, and I'm going to see if I can get more Metroids. And it just, the game, I didn't want the game to end. I beat it in 12 hours or whatever.
I will say a big factor, I think, is that you have the XL. I think would have made my experience better. But the little I did play on the XL was like,
this is
wow. Yeah. It made a huge difference. But.
Yeah. So kind of to echo what Sean was saying, like this, when this was announced, I still don't know why they didn't put this on their E3 Treehouse Live. They did it on the, we got a new 2D Metroid game coming. Like, this should have been they should have followed up the Metroid Prime 4 logo with Metroid Samus Returns, and everybody would have lost their minds. I really hope this game sold well so that we do get more 2D Metroid games.
Yeah.
I agree with what Sean said, that this didn't feel as Metroidvania-ish, which feels stupid to say about a Metroid game, but as Metroidvania-ish as Super Metroid did. But I like the way this game was structured. I like how it ramps up from the first Metroids you get, they're just going, and all you got to do is shoot them a couple times, and you suck in their DNA and you go. I like how you have to find them to unlock the big chorizo, whatever thing, and then the water drains and you go down there. I like that they did have all the classic power-ups, even if it took a while to get to them.
Yeah.
And especially one of the things I was worried about it's so weird to see trailers of 3DS games because I don't think they're ever as clear as they would be if it was just play it on your Switch without having to have the stereoscopic 3D built in and all this other stuff. So I was kind of worried that the art style was going to turn me off. I wish when I saw it revealed, I was like, man, I wish it just looked like Super Metroid. I wish it looked like the Metroid 2 fan remake that got shut down by Nintendo, AM2R. But once you play it, like, it works so well. And the fact that I don't really ever play with 3D on, but if you did play with 3D on this, you would know there's always stuff going on in the background. Like, you'd see a giant alien or a giant robot mining in the back. And you're like, well, this is like depth that you could never get. And I don't mean that literally. Well, I mean it both ways. Of just standard 16-bit graphics, you know, it made you feel like you were in a world. The boss fight, one of the downsides was there wasn't as many boss fights, but they got around that because you had to fight 40 mini bosses in Metroids. And when you got to the last few Metroids you had to get, those things were insane.
Yep.
So it didn't have. I mean, if you're a Metroid fan, there's some enemies in it that you'll know and love, and then the very end ties into another Metroid game which I didn't know was coming. I still haven't played it. I need to go back and do it, but I just absolutely loved my time with this game, and I didn't want it to end. Also, like Sean was saying, the gameplay stuff, at first I could not get the hang of the parry or whatever it was called. Right. I just couldn't get the timing right, but once you did, it's like, some people complained about it because they thought it kind of broke up the pace, but I'm like, y'all are acting like Metroid is a Contra game or something. It's not like that. So it's okay that you see an enemy, they give you the little flash, they show you they're coming, you go pop, one hit kill, done. I also like the way they used how you can use the L and the R to change the way you aim. You can sit still if you hold down L, and you can aim in any direction. Yeah. I like the little touches graphical wise, like if you hold L and you aim behind you, Samus won't just turn and do this. She'll be facing this way, and then she'll go, oh, bam, 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 and she just looks like such a badass. It was so well done. Yeah. Absolutely love my time with the game. I hope we get more 2D Metroids. I don't care about Metroid Prime. Maybe that's because I've never played them. But like,
if you would love 1.
Okay.
It is Metroid. 2 and 3, it's a little different. I mean, 1 is like Ocarina of Time, whereas I think 2 and 3 are more Majora's Mask.
Ew, I don't want to play 2 and 3.
Like, 1 is in the normal Metroid universe. Like, Ocarina is in Hyrule, Majora is in Termina. Right. Like, you would like 1. Okay. I hope that's how 4 is. At least I hope they don't get too crazy with, like, I just hope it's a standard Metroid game.
Yeah.
But I think you would definitely like 1.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, maybe it hasn't aged well. I don't know, but
yeah, I should give it a try, especially since 4 is coming out, and I'll probably end up buying it just because I have a Switch. I feel like I should.
Yeah.
So, number 4, Metroid: Samus Returns. Number 3, Resident Evil 7. I think I like this better than 4, and I played 4 for the first time last year, 2016, when it got re-released, and I loved it. I said at the time, I was like, I don't know how I missed out on this for all this time, but with it being an HD re-release for like the 3rd time or however many times they've re-released that game, I wish they would have updated the feel of it, the way it feels when you aim with the right stick, that it's not so slow and cumbersome and stuff, but then it wouldn't be the same game, so whatever. Resident Evil 7 is just unlike any game I've ever played before. It's not even just that like Sean said, that first hour is unreal, and the whole time you're in the house is just like, you go up to a door and it's like, I'm afraid.
Just have no idea what's going to be on the other side.
Yeah, and you don't even have the loading times like you did with the old Resident Evil games that built suspense in. This is just like, there's going to be an oil monster on the other side, or Jack's going to come through with a shovel and cut half my head off.
Or when you just hear him, all of a sudden you hear him like taunting you, and you're like
what?
Where is he? Oh, God. And then, yeah.
Or you're just walking down a hall and you think everything's fine, and then boom, he comes through the wall. It's got boss fights that are really well done, even though one is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen, I think, in a video game. It just made me want to vomit. They had like a saw part to it.
That was cool.
Yeah. It's so the puzzle solving in this was really well done, and the shotgun and all that, and the shadow puzzles and stuff like that, and other things I hear but can't think of. And even So like Marty Sleva has said a lot of times that if his game of the year is the first 2/3 of this game.
Yeah.
Like if the whole game would have been like that, he said it probably would have been his game of the year. And while I agree with that, I don't hate the third act as much as I think a lot of people do, because I still felt very uneasy. Like it was different than being in the house, but it was still like there's doors you have to open and there's lots of enemies, and yeah, it's more action oriented and the story kind of gets crazy and everything, but it's still, until you get down in the tunnels. Actually, when you're on the boat, that's cool. When you get down in the tunnels, it's like, this is just not even fair anymore.
It brought back the, like, Resident Evil 1 was cool because it was the whole haunted house kind of vibe.
Yeah.
You're in this mansion, creepy mansion. And then 2 were like, well, we can't do that again.
You're in a
Let's
city,
have it be in a
hospital or
police
something.
station.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And then 3, yeah, you're like in the city, and I think maybe even in the police station for a little bit of it. You're in a hospital. 4, you were in like 4, you were all over the place. Or not 4, not 4, but Code Veronica. And then 4
kinda,
totally flipped it around. Yeah. But then this is like you're back to just like it's just there was
such
like
an
a realness
enclosed area,
to it.
but it's also like it's just a house, but then there's so many. That house is bigger than you think it is.
Right.
And then I remember the first time I walked outside the door was like, I'm scared to death to actually go out. Like, I don't know who's going to be out here. Resident Evil 7 was just a fantastic game, and it's definitely one I do want to go back and play through.
Yeah.
Again, and then there's some big fan service at the end. If somehow you haven't been spoiled yet, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but you'll go, holy crap, when a certain thing is revealed. Yeah, Resident Evil 7 is just awesome. It wasn't going to win my game of the year, but I feel like this is going to it's going to have a disservice done to it because it came out so early. Like it was like the 3rd week of January. There's some people are like, holy crap, that came out this year. That I think it's going to get bumped down in some categories and stuff because people just forget what an amazing experience it was. I don't want to play it in VR. I'm kind of like Adam. We were saying Adam's like, I'm not a fan of pooping my pants. I would probably poop my pants in this game. Like, go back and watch. I did the Let's Play of the first hour of this game, and I was just out here by myself in the Pool House recording studios, scared to death. Oh, God. It's amazing. Just play
That's
this
another
game.
thing. It's right up there with Zelda in that is something I wish I could be neuralized and experience again for the first time.
See,
I mean, it's still going to scare the crap out of me knowing more or less what's going to happen, but I would love to be able to experience that for the first time again.
I think there's going to be, you'll remember the big moments, like climbing up the ladder to the window in the opening, and then the what happens after that. Like I'll remember all that, but the little moments where you're exploring, and I'll forget a lot of that. I'll forget a lot of it, and it'll be fun to go back through it again.
Yeah.
All right, so now this is when things get interesting for me. So, number 2, this is the hardest decision I think I've ever had to make for a Game of the Year award in my head. That we're not like, just, you know what I mean. So, Horizon comes out on the 28th of February. The Switch and Zelda comes out on March 3rd. And we both were of the same mindset. I'm not going to get Horizon Zero Dawn because we're getting the Switch in 3 days. I know Zelda. I cannot wait to play this, especially since I had my 3D Zelda fears quenched by playing through Ocarina finally. Did I mean to say quenched?
I think you mean
assuaged. Sure. But playing through Ocarina of Time finally on the 3DS, the definitive version of it, playing through Twilight Princess, I was like, okay, 3D works for Zelda. And I knew it was going to be great. I knew I was spending all this money on a Switch and a Pro Controller and all this. I'm gonna play Zelda until I'm sick of this game. And I did. For about a month, it was the only game I played. Finally was like, I'm ready to move on. Played some little things here and there, and I think it was in May that I finally went back and got Horizon Zero Dawn. Wow. With the stupid zigzag?
Yeah.
Do the super kick, Dolph. And I thought playing through Zelda, I was like, I've heard Horizon's good. Colin and Greg talk about it a lot. I trust them. But there's no way it's going to live up to Zelda. Zelda is the craziest game I've ever played. It's not my favorite game of all time, but it is way up there. And then I played Horizon. And Horizon Zero Dawn hooked me more than I thought it would. It blew my mind. I had never really been a big fan of bows and arrows in video games. But it worked so well in this, even though it didn't actually work as well as Zelda, because that motion aiming on the Switch Pro controller is just so pinpoint accurate. It's awesome. Horizon Zero Dawn, like we said, I love storytelling in video games more than anything. Horizon Zero and stories in video games. Horizon Zero Dawn's story, there is so much there. There's so much lore that you get little bits of, and you figure out why the world is like this, and you figure out where Aloy came from and how the world got to be where it is, and these machines, and there's new machines and all this other stuff. Tell me AJ didn't lose.
No, he won.
Okay.
Calf crusher submission.
Good. Then yeah, you tapped out like a little bee. You're done. You're never getting another shot.
And Owen's Insane won.
Of course, they're not going anywhere. Yeah. Did D-Bride turn heel?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I mean, not.
Shane, you're out of control, kind of a thing.
I think Zane rolled up Orton or something, and Shane counted 1, 2, and then stopped, and then Brian got in his face like, "Don't do that, you can't do that, whatever." And then Zane pinned Orton, and then I guess Brian did a fast count.
Oh,
yeah,
that's tough. Anyways, Horizon just blew my again. The prettiest game I've ever seen. The story was so like I told Sean, I was like, you're going to get to the point where you're going to go up this big building, you're going to get to the top, and you're going to finally start to figure out what happened and what Horizon Zero Dawn means, and you're just going to be hooked. And I was hooked. I've been fighting with myself for probably the last 4 months of what my game of the year is, and I think this is how messed up in the head I am. That I'm taking this so seriously that I'm like, everything in me after I beat Zelda and I was done, I moved on. Everything since then has been Horizon Zero Dawn. It's one of those games that really stuck with me. I couldn't stop thinking about the story, where the sequel's going to go, what the Frozen Wilds might do, all this world, these relationships with like Aaron and all these other people that you meet in the world, and their backstories. And Aloy is such a great character, even if the face animations are like they're just weird when they're talking. It's like Mass Effect.
It's not like Mass Effect.
Well, it's not like Mass Effect, but it's yeah. And then like I was trying to I went back and listened to our old podcast when I talked about Zelda, when I talked about Horizon, because everything in me was like, I think it's Horizon. Horizon's my game of the year. And I feel like I'm like controversial in my own head for saying that Horizon's my game of the year. Then I was like, okay, so I got to go back and I got to play Zelda. And I played Zelda even before the DLC came out. And it started to click again, although I kept dying because I just didn't remember how to control the game. And
yeah.
And then all of a sudden it just clicked that like I had forgotten, like I was just saying about Resident Evil. I had forgotten, because it had been so long, how magical it was playing Breath of the Wild, not just being on the Great Plateau for the first time and Link's naked. He's just got boxers on, and there's the old man who you can tell is going to be somebody, and you get the paraglider and you glide off there for the first time. You see your first guardian, and you're like, well, I don't know how I'm ever going to beat these things. But that this open world, and a lot of people have said it's only a game of the year because it's got Zelda on the title, and it's just Skyrim and blah, blah, blah. You can't say that, though, I don't think. Like, if you like Uncharted's, you like it, you could say, well, what if they just made an Indiana Jones game and it was the same as Uncharted? Well, but you can't, because Uncharted, you care about the game because it's got the name Uncharted on it, because you care about Nathan Drake and you care about Sully and you want to know about Drake and Elena and all this other stuff. So you can't just say something just gets it because it's got the name on it, because the name is the game. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Long story short, my number 2 game of the year is Horizon.
Okay.
It's Horizon. I love Horizon so much. any other year, I mean, I like it better than Metal Gear Solid 5. I like it better than Uncharted 4. But Zelda's just a little bit belter. Belter. That's a new word. I just killed the moment.
Mr. Belding?
I should cut that out, but I'll never remember.
Zelda is
that's why Zelda
Belder.
is Belder. Zelda's just a little bit better. Like, oh, you can tell we're 2 hours in. So my favorite game series of all time, I think, is it's still Metal Gear. But like Zelda's right underneath it. And while this isn't my favorite game of all time, and I actually still don't think it's my favorite Zelda game of all time, I think I still prefer Link to the Past. I'm off my Zelda 1's the best game ever made. I'm off of that. I still think I prefer Link to the Past for some of the reasons that you said. But it would have been nice to have the dungeons and all that other stuff, but the real thing is just the breakable weapons. It just grates at me. If they would have gotten rid of that, then this might have been my favorite Zelda game of all time. Still behind Metal Gear Solid 3, but
yeah.
And I'm just kind of combining 2 and 1 into one, but just put Zelda's my number one game. Horizon's great. It's beautiful. The story's fantastic, but Zelda is special. And Horizon's special too, but Zelda is just Belder. Zelda is just like it's unlike any game I've ever played where it's just, I know it's something as simple as climbing, but like climbing, like,
but it's just everything, like getting around in that game is just perfect.
Yes.
Between like the warping.
You can't, you're crying because the Belder. It's like, it's
Zelda
so
is Belder. But anyway, it's the warping, the climbing, and then the paraglider. What is that what it's called?
Yes.
Or it's just called the glider. The glider is just it's just like when I want to go somewhere, like if I want to get over here, I could either like warp here.
Oh, yeah.
Or I can warp here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna warp here and
I'm
then
just
just
gonna
fly.
especially
as
once
opposed
you
to warping
build your
here and
stamina
then
up.
walking.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Just everything works in conjunction just perfectly.
And like it's not the most technically sound. There's pop-in and stuff because when you build a game this gigantic on the power of the Switch, you're going to have limitations. And some of the textures are really flat and there's pop-in and stuff, but like
what's weird is when I was exploring just earlier today, I was in this area, this pretty sizable area that I had not been to before. And I was up kind of high. I wasn't on top of a mountain, but I was up high. And I'm looking in the direction that I need to go. I'm like, all right, if I go that way, I haven't explored any of that. But then I look and I see a blue shrine. I'm like, what in the world? I'm like, I thought I hadn't been here. And then so I line up, so I'm like facing right at it. And then I look at the map and I'm like following. I'm like, all right, where is this thing? And it was really far away.
Oh,
like
yeah.
You can see for miles and miles in that game.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden I'm like, how have I done the shrine? I haven't been here yet. And I was looking at a shrine that was way beyond this area that I'm trying to explore. I don't know, it blew my mind.
Yeah. And not only is it like an open, like I think I've talked about this on podcasts, but it's not like they made such a big deal about Metal Gear Solid 5 being an open world. And it was an open world.
There's just nothing
with just
there.
nothing there. Just a bunch of sand and a couple little encampments here and there. Whereas Zelda, it's like every time, like Sean was saying, every time you get to a new area, like I remember before I stopped playing and moved on to Horizon, I got to this little village that I didn't even know existed on this, it's like a beach village with like these trees that had like these gigantic like leaves or something. And I was like, I didn't even know this was here.
Yep.
And then when I I bought the DLC and then I'm looking at my Heroes mode or Heroes Path, whatever it's called. And I'm like, I haven't seen anything in this game.
Yeah.
My little green line, there are so many areas that I have completely skipped over. And all those areas have something in them. And it is just amazing. This year has been insane for video games. The fact that 2 of my top 5 favorite games of all time came out in 1 year is insane. But at the end of the day, Zelda Breath of the Wild is my game of the year.
I mean, obviously I can't argue.
I thought Horizon was going to be 0-1. I mean, that would be correct, but I thought it was going to be number 1.
But Zelda was Belder.
But Zelda was Belder. Zelda was Belder. Put that on a t-shirt and print it. Zelda was Belder.
All right, so we have 8 of the 10 the same, and we actually agreed on 5 in the same location.
Yep.
So that's about what I figured.
It's good. It's good. Whew. This has been a podcast. Do you want to do it?
Yeah, whatever. It should be quick. Well, I don't know.
No,
yeah, whatever.
It sounds like
we're here. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. So those are our top 10 games of the week, but that's not the end of the podcast. Why is that, Sean?
Because it's time for the
It's the back of the box
challenge.
If you didn't know, the back box challenge, how we end the podcast here every week on the Two Player Co-op podcast. What this game is we take a look at a previously released retail game, and we look at the back of that retail box. We read the description aloud to the other player and bleep out any pertinent information that would give the game away or make it way too obvious. Then the other player gets to ask some follow-up questions that can only be answered with a yes or no, and try to see if they can guess the game of the, damn it, if they can guess what the game is with the back of the box that we've read aloud. And that's what we're going to do now. The points aren't real and the questions don't matter. Sean?
I'm going to go first just because I should be fine on battery, but my battery's dying, so I'm going to go first anyway. Okay.
Blank.
Bullets fly and circuits fry in heavy-duty blank
Combat.
techno slaughter. I don't know what techno slaughter is, but
Is this System Shock?
no. Okay. You control blank, the ultimate blank warrior patrolling the charred urban destruction of the Great War. And a murderous blank is gunning for you. You are the ultimate tech destroyer.
What the hell?
With blanks, blanks, blank, and blank.
Are those people?
No, they're things that you have to destroy tech, apparently.
Is this part of a series?
I don't believe so.
Oh, God.
Blank of cyber combat rock through what?
Cyber Combat Rock Group?
Blank. This is like one of it's like a bullet point talking about the game. Blank of cyber combat.
Simon Banks haven't talked.
I'm so confused on what this is trying to say. Cyber combat rock through war-torn urban streets, bombed out farmland, scorched forests, and bullet-riddled burbs.
Burbs. Okay, so this is... Okay. Is this an 8-bit game?
No.
16.
No.
Oh, my God. I'm screwed. 32?
Yes.
Is it a Saturn game?
No.
It's a PlayStation exclusive.
No.
Oh, my God. It's a PC?
No.
What the hell? There's nothing else. The 32X?
Yes.
Oh! Do you pilot a giant robot?
You do.
I don't remember the name of it. It's not Mech Warrior because
No.
it's oh my God. I really liked that game. We
owned it, right?
We had it.
Okay.
I really liked it.
I had to pull up gameplay footage, and even then, I'm
Oh
like,
my God.
I think we own this, but
But what was the name of it? I know the game. I can't think of the name now. It's not Mech Warrior.
it's
Mech
not.
Assault.
It's not
No,
gear.
it's not Metal.
It's not gear.
Metal. Slug.
No.
That's the Contra game. I don't know. Metal Assault. Metal Warrior.
No.
Mecha Warrior. Mecha Metal. Bleeder.
Mecha Metal.
Belter. Metal Belter.
I
Metal
think this was also the name, I think, of a bad guy in Ninja Turtles.
Metal Shredder. Metal King. Rat King. Metal Usagi Yojimbo. He was a good guy. Triceraton. Bebop. Rocksteady.
It's Metal Blank.
I have no idea. I can't think of it now. Metal Assault. Metal Rat King.
Metal body part.
Metal Gear. Metal Arm. Metal Leg. Metal Head. Metalhead?
Metalhead.
That was the name of it? Oh, I would have never gotten it. Metalhead. Yeah, that was the guy in Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. Yeah, we had the action figure.
Yeah, Metalhead was the name of the game? Holy crap. I would have never guessed that. That's the game, though. I loved that game.
I don't know what made me think of it, but...
I
Oh,
don't
no,
either.
I know what I did. I'm like, I want to do something obscure. I'm like, let me look through all, 20 games that were released on 32X
Right.
and find something obscure. And then I saw that, I'm like, wait, we actually own this, I thought. I couldn't remember. I was pretty sure we did. But.
We definitely did. It was one of... Yeah, not many. All right, ready?
Yep.
The blank gang has spread crime and violence throughout the streets of blank. Only one man has enough guts to take the streets back from them. Blank. Now the blank gang has kidnapped his daughter, Jessica, to bring him under their control. But they've made one mistake. Blank's furious and he wants someone's head. Blank and Blank's boyfriend Blank are joining Blank to clean up the slime.
Wait. Blank and Blank's boyfriend Blank?
Blank and not
both
of their boyfriends. Blank, one person, and Blank's boyfriend Blank are joining Blank to clean up the slime-filled streets and rescue Jessica. Along the way, you'll find food to replenish your health.
Is this a Streets of Rage game?
No.
Is it a Final Fight?
No.
Is it a beat 'em up?
Yes.
Okay.
Or better yet, search for weapons to knock the living daylights out of your enemies. So join Blank and his friends as they try to free the city from the evil clutches of the Blank!
Mad Gear? Mm-hmm. I can't remember what game it is, though. Oh, is it Double... No. Is it Double Dragon? Mm-mm. Is it a 16-bit game?
Mm-mm.
8?
Mm-hmm.
Is it River City Ransom?
Nope.
Is it Mini Final Fight or whatever that game was called?
Yes.
Is it
Mighty.
Mighty Final Fight?
It's like when you said
Mini
is it-
because they're all tiny.
When you said, is it Final Fight? I was like, no, it's not. You didn't ask if it was part of the series. Look at these stupid graphics.
That's why I called it Mini Final Fight. I
Right.
forgot it's Mighty Final Fight.
You know what the
God,
lowest...
that's terrible.
Segue. You know what the lowest rated game on IGN this year was? Double Dragon 4. 3.5.
Double Dragon 4.
It's like the graphics of Double Dragon 2 and stuff, but it was just
Right.
horrible. And it was
I
broken.
forgot that game even came out.
I was so excited for it. We were going to buy it and do Let's Plays, and it was like, this is one of the worst games ever made. So
That's bad. Yeah.
we did not do it. Well, that went better than I thought it would have. I don't know how did I get to 32? It wasn't any of those systems. It's got to be 32X. Is it the mech game? Yeah. Okay.
Well, yeah. What finally made you get to where it was a mech assault kind of game?
Because I was trying to think of, there's only 20 games on the 3DS. I mean, the 3DS, the 32X. And it was like, it's not, Doom was on there. This is not Doom. It seems kind of futuristic sounding. So I was like, what else could there be? Is it the mech game?
Yeah.
It just was like, I don't know what else that it could be.
Yeah.
That has been it for episode 102. Woo, boy, that was a long one. Our top 10 games of 2017. Thank you guys so much for hanging in there with us for episode 102. As you know, we are part of the Nerd 901 family, so go ahead and check us out at nerd901.com for all things nerdy in Memphis and around the globe. And we're going to keep shouting him out because he's going to keep going up and above and beyond.
Up and a bond.
Check out Blurred Without Fear, youtube.com/Blurred Without Fear. Check out our buddy Ernie. He's doing great work over there. Go check him out. He's blowing up like we knew he would. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Kevin White 24. He's at Real Sean White Together. We're at 2player_co-op. Obviously, hopefully you're watching us on YouTube. Otherwise, you stole our video, and that's not very nice. Go to youtube.com/2player-co-op and hit that subscribe button. Share the video with your friends and all the like. Like the video if you liked it, and like it if you don't like Bob Mackey. You can find us on audio also on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and audio services all around the world. And we have a Facebook page that we never update at facebook.com/2player-co-op gaming. Thank you guys so much for being here. We're going to be off next week for Christmas. We're going to come back, I think, the week after that. We'll see. Hopefully have an idea of what we're doing differently next year. Again, if you haven't taken the survey yet, go to the SurveyMonkey link that is in the description. Give us your feedback. It seriously is like 2 minutes. That's all it takes. We just want to know what you like, what you don't like, what we could do differently, what we should keep doing, yada, yada, yada. I didn't yada, yada over the bisque. It was the best part. You get that, right?
I get it.
Yeah. So that's it. This has been episode 102 of the Two Player Co-op podcast. And until the next time, Sean, go ahead and take us out.
Zelda is Beldar.
Put it on a shirt. Oh,
Thank you for playing.
You
That was a good
closed your
toss.
hand when it hit, so it was like you had the right timing, but it was just like
That was the right.
not really.
I mean, they usually end up behind me. If it hits the table
Or
in
in
front of
your
me,
eye.
I'm pretty happy if I landed on the table.
Oh God, thanks,
Okay.
guys.
My snaps suck. There
I have no snaps in my headphones. Zelda's builder.